Another award-winning, thought-provoking, action-packed edition of the Tony Basilio Show is coming up next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show. You found the Tony Basilio stream at TonyBasilio.com or on your smartphone or tablet. Another thrilling, chilling, and sometimes spilling edition of the Basilio Show is on the way next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com.
Listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Life, ladies and gentlemen, is a celebration. We're going to celebrate our sports today with you on the program. My name is Tony Basilio. We're pretty fired up, we're pretty focused, and we're pretty prepared for what's about to come today. I'm feeling it. Are you feeling it today? I'm feeling it. Can you feel it? Tennessee's in the process of trying to assemble their super team in hoops. We'll talk about that. Baseball team got back on the good foot last night. And we've got a young baseball coach who's learning. Okay? We've got a baseball coach who, ladies and gentlemen, is learning. And I respect that. I respect him in the morning, and I appreciate Josh Elander. I respect that man in the morning. Because he's trying things. He's trying things. You know, Berkey said yesterday, now look, I'm never going to, excuse away. And by the way, Adam Sparks joins next segment. We're going to touch them all with Adam. We're going to do a little football. We're going to do the quarterbacks. That's what everybody is wondering about in the spring. Here's the reality of the quarterbacks. That both those guys have a long way to go. I was telling Plaster that yesterday. Kelly Holcomb asked me about that. And I said, look, you can't pass judgment, but you can say this. Because there's a long way to go before we get there, but those guys have a long way to go. Both of them. To be solid players at this level. They're not real fired up, focused, and prepared with what they're seeing out of their quarterback so far. But that's kind of is what it is. I appreciate Josh Elander for trying things. And I'm going to bring Sean Sinclair in against that backdrop. Because Cinco, you're more than a noted baseball observer. You're a man that's worn the stripes many, many years, been over there, been fighting the good fight. I was glad to see Ross Kivett at third base, and it was apropos that he was hit with a foul ball last night when he was over there. First inning he was over there, Cinco. I think that's kind of poetic justice almost.
It fits his brand.
Yes, it fits the whole brand of this season so far. We're just a little bit off kilter. I'm not giving up on this team, not even a little bit, Sean. There's too much pitching, and there's too much talent on that team for me to give up on these guys. And I'm not giving up on Josh Elander like some of our fans are. I'm just not doing that. He's too good a baseball guy. He's been around too long. He's had a rough start though.
No, not to fluff or not to throw out false narratives. People can trust their eyes, but what my eyes see when I step back is I see a roster that people, including myself, thought that the sophomore class was going to launch and become the players that Simo and Burke were their third year.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, those two guys were platooning a little bit here and there. The second year, they took off a little bit, though. Burke, was just not even adequate at first base.
Mm-hmm.
And then third year, they became superstars.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of us, including myself, saw these highly rated guys that turned down Major League Baseball. They had a couple of flashes last year, and we thought, hey, you know what? You turn the clock. It's a new year. They become somewhat like Burke, Simo, et cetera. Well, It just hasn't happened in the second year. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen, and it may be the third year. The guys that they brought in have been great. I mean, Ford, Garrett, Wright, some of these pitchers, albeit our Sunday guy got roughed up a bit, but I think the past 2 weeks, I think he's been sold out by some defense problems. I agree with you on Elander. I'm impressed. I didn't know him. He was very much in the shadows the past 10 years. But when I listen to him in interviews, he doesn't dodge questions. He certainly doesn't throw his guys under the bus, but he seems to have an articulate, accurate answer for everything. And the fact, like you said, I don't think he's throwing things on the refrigerator. I think he's trying to see if he can help improve. And what he said yesterday was, by me being in the dugout, I can communicate better with the kids moment to moment. And I thought that was a great answer. I think they're figuring it out. Sure, you got walked off 3 times at a Vandy on a Vandy team that wasn't great.
Yep.
However, it was 3 one-loss runs.
Yep.
It could have gone 3-0. It sucked. Georgia, that Sunday game in the rain. A guy makes a great catch, or we potentially win that game. If and woulda, shoulda, coulda. But that's just the way it goes. So, no, I'm not giving up these guys at all. I don't think they're going to storm into Hoover and into Omaha like gladiators. But it wouldn't surprise me if they have a 23-type season.
Yeah.
Win some games and get hot at the end of the year.
I think that's right. And listen, I think they have a lot of baseball team over there, and I think the season's very young.
Yep.
And I'm not saying this is going to happen. We've seen teams finish last, or the last team in the field get hot and go on to win the national championship. It's just how good this league is. The margin for error, and Vandy's not very good, but Tennessee didn't do little things over the weekend, and that's why they lost. But when you start playing better, and I thought Chris Burke had a great point on here yesterday when he said Vanderbilt was seeding the third game. They were conceding it. They were going to leave that kid out there in the middle innings to take a pounding. And things are going so poorly for us, we couldn't even take advantage of it. So I think this thing is a lot of fun. It's going to be extremely interesting. And
one thing I'd like to throw out there is a guy is, I saw it in Vitello, and I saw it early here with Elander. And they do Elander right now with the pitchers and some of these hitters, guys that are still struggling, even this part of the season, is both of those guys tended to trust their guys more than they trusted their eyes. Yep. And I get that. I mean, they've got huge relationships with these guys in recruiting. They believe in them. They trust them. I would encourage Elan, because he's no dummy. He's a bright guy, really bright guy, and he knows baseball. I would encourage him to rely more on what he's seeing than what he wants to happen in this analytics stuff. I mean, it seems like the camera pans over to him in the dugout at nut cutting time a few times a game, and he's talking to the analytics guy. And I'm like, I hear you, and facts are facts, but, man, the great managers just know and feel.
Taylor this week in Tennessee baseball makes a great point when he says, when you look over at him in the dugout and he's charting pitches, managers shouldn't be charting pitches. When he wanted to do that when he was an underling, he's a big picture guy now.
Yep.
And Taylor made the point he didn't need to be out on third base, and he doesn't need to be charting pitches. You need to delegate that stuff. You are the head honcho. You are the big chi. You are the chi of the chi. You are the head cheese. Brian Hartman, your thoughts on Elander going from third base coach, which obviously he loves doing, into getting his hands in the dugout and staying in the dugout. Now he's listening to the fans here, which I think is an interesting thing. I like to say radio gets results. That's been my saying down through the years. Your thoughts, Brian Hartman?
Well, two things. Craig Bell's going to be the third base coach going forward. He was sick last night, so Ross Kibbitt was coaching third.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is the Vanderbilt game in football forced Heupel to make changes that he probably would not have made. Getting swept by Vanderbilt this past weekend has brought not Heupel, but Josh Elander to make changes that he otherwise might not have made. Now, we don't know how either is going to work out, but there's optimism in football that there might not have been because he changed coordinators defensively. Could a similar thing happen with baseball?
That's an excellent, intelligent cross-sport comparison, Brian. An excellent cross-sport comparison. Could Vanderbilt hold the keys here? Cinco, it's interesting, right? Obviously, that series forced this guy to look inside and say, I got to try something different. And look, whether it's taking Brown and batting him at the top of the lineup on Sunday, which was a nice move, which paid off, and getting this kid unlocked a little bit, whether it's that third base deal, now they've got to figure out bullpen-wise, how do I use this Krenzel guy? Because, Sean, you can't put him in high leverage. That's the next thing they've got to admit. I don't know how Bino put it. Bino, I think, said he's broken right now. They got to get him off to the side and fix him, but they can't throw that kid out there in high leverage situations again in this league.
I agree, and I don't think it's fair to him. Was it the Georgia game? He came out on Sunday.
Yep.
It was obvious he didn't want to be out there in the rain for whatever reason. He asked for that towel. He was looking at his hand like he couldn't. He did not want to be out there. And I understand the 1,000-yard stare and all that stuff locked in, but I knew he was giving up that grand slam, and you knew he was giving up that grand slam.
No, but a buddy of mine called me and said, "Are you?" I said, "Of course I'm watching. I got 2 TVs on. I'm a sicko, and I'm gonna get radiation. I've been watching so much television this weekend." And he's like, "Well, here comes a ding dong," and I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, first he's going to hit a guy, and then he's going to give it a ding dong, and then this game's over." I said, "That's crazy. It's exactly what happened." Sean, he hit that first guy to set up that winning home run. I mean, it was like a bad Hollywood ending or something.
It really was, and I felt bad for him. I felt bad for the team because they had fought back. But and then with Elander, I started with my buddy. We started calling Elander Coach one batter too late.
Yeah,
because it seems the pattern is that you can feel the leverage.
Yep,
everybody knows it's time. The pitcher will give up something, and then here he comes right out. He's just so far this season he's been one batter too late.
Sean, from your perspective, what is out there in the public purview as you scan and man things regarding the quarterback situation thus far in spring? What is being presented? Because I'm going to share with what's truly going on.
Oh, I don't even see, and I'm not the diligent consumer of chats like I used to be.
Yes.
But it seems that I think a lot of people are taking a wait and see. I think the Joey Aguilar decision took a lot of wind out of everybody's sails, and now they're just kind of seeing what's going to happen. We threw out several weeks ago the the Ain Schaefer thing. That was just hopium on my part. I don't think we're going to come anywhere close to that. But I think people are kind of resolved to it is what it is, and let's just see what happens. I don't see anybody that's okay with this being a rebuilding year, though. I think the era of year zero, 5-year rebuild, and a rebuilding year. I don't think those are phrases that are acceptable anymore by the fan.
That's a very interesting thing. The thing that's, I think, and one thing I want to talk about Adam about on the other side, Adam Sparks is going to join. We're going to touch them all with him. Watson Brown, by the way, tomorrow. We're going to, Watson's got some family stuff today, so we'll visit with Watson tomorrow on the show. It'll be our Watson Brown Wednesday on a Thursday. We can do that. The quarterback deal is such that right now Tennessee will take some functional, okay, solid quarterback play to the bank all day long with what they've seen so far in the spring. That's what they'll take. That's what they're hoping to get. They're hoping to get one of these guys to the point where they can get some functional, okay, Southeastern Conference quarterback play. That's their goal from here to there. And I'm going to ask Adam about this. One thing I hear about GMAC is that the variance level from day to day is all over the place. And you just, and that's what spring ball's for, Like yesterday, I was asked on my weekly appearance with Plaster about that piece of video that was out there about the young freshman wide receiver. And people were just, going off about it and freaking out. And look, Cinco knows in music, if I'm going to teach you something different on an instrument, I've got to slow down and get it for you to get it under your fingers. If I'm going to teach you a technique as a wide receiver, I've got to slow it down to the basic, to where you're almost walking if I'm going to teach it to you and really teach it to you. And if I got to learn a passage or a scale or something that's a little different than the way I would normally approach something on an instrument, I've got to get it under my fingers. I've got to slow it. People taking that Tristan Keys video and running with it and going way out of bounds, like Parker Kelly was saying yesterday, it's senseless. I mean, it's just, I know we all want things to look at, and I know that there's a desert out there. What these SEC teams have done is they've created an information desert when it comes to the spring ball, and people want to fill the void. They're like, well, how come you don't talk about spring ball more? What is there to talk about? Go ahead. What is there to talk about? Because anything I'm going to tell you is, kind of pure speculation. And like I told you before, I'm not going to get spun, but I'm going to share with you that the quarterbacks, and this is not spin, have a long way to go. Both of them. The other guy is extreme. The freshman is, and we'll talk about this in the other side with Adam, but extremely physically talented. But he doesn't know a wristwatch from a wrist lock, as they say in wrestling parlance. So, at this point, he doesn't know whether to scratch his rear end or wind his watch. So we'll see what happens. But, this thing will be very interesting. And because in one sense, you got a physically talented guy who's just sort of a lost ball in high weeds, as you would expect. And then in the other sense, you got a guy who's been in your program for a year and who's just, it's slow. It's slow in coming for him. And so we'll see what happens. But it's not, let me put it to you this way. It's not great. The only way I can put it. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm not saying they're not going to get good quarterback play in the fall, but that's the update right now. It's just kind of meh, as we like to say in our vernacular. It's just kind of meh quarterback play. Doesn't mean it's going to be meh in November or October, but right now that's your report. Adam Sparks joins on the other side. 865-200-5402. And look, fans are going to pick sides on who the quarterback should be. I don't think it's fair to either guy right now to do that. I understand there's a desert out there. I understand we have teams. You haven't even seen either guy. Cinco, how could fans be choosing which guy they want to see when they haven't seen either guy play? That's not fair to those guys, is it, Sean?
No, but I think it's just natural fan behavior. We've seen it before.
So, 865.
And in all the recruitings, like my past,
yeah,
we go back and we would look at the huddle films and we would do this, and then we'd try to use our own little calculus and figure out, well, they played in this state at this thing, so they've seen better, and then we would kind of come backdoor our way into who we thought should be better without having even seen anything.
865-200-5402. And they're reminding me, remember, Tony, you wanted to see something different at quarterback. Well, no, I wanted to see one of the kids grow toward 2027 being your come year. But Sean's right. That's not a viewpoint that's shared by a lot of people because tickets are so expensive. And I also think that people on our fans are seeing what the basketball team's doing. The basketball team's living in the here and now, which we're going to get into as the show unfolds. They're trying to put together a super team. And I was talking to some people yesterday after the show regarding that very thing, and they're like, yeah, it's just a new day. It's a new day in this program. And Barnes isn't worried about the returning players and who gets their feelings hurt. And, it's like we're going to get better players. And we're going to get better at every position. Because we get in that spot next year, we're going through that round. Or we're going to die trying. And I think it's interesting. I think the whole thing is interesting. So we'll come back on the other side. 865-200-5402. We'll get to Adam. We'll get Adam in here. I want Adam's thoughts on all this stuff, because he's doing some baseball duty now. He has his eyes on the hoops program. Hey, Cinco, this hoops thing and how aggressive they're about to be is kind of crazy, isn't it?
Well, I'm just going on what you say. I've heard the numbers. I've heard the intent. Since I've known you, you relay information that you believe is trustworthy and
accurate. No reason. Why would I want to do that?
I'm not from you, but I'm hoping the information you get is not some kind of cheerleading.
Oh, no.
And we're kind of left without the thing. But
they might swing a miss.
No, it is exciting. I wanted to ask you about the Lady Vols, because I don't get this at all. I don't understand it one bit.
Lady Vol thing?
Yeah, I don't. I do not.
I like how Caldwell selling. They're trying to sell the story that this guy is some problem that just got let go. Oh no, he didn't get let go. He quit. He resigned.
And he got immediate within an hour. He got hired at LSU.
I mean, I don't know.
Program than
top
us.
Top of the mark program. I mean, I'll tell you this. I've been doing this for 34. She's the biggest disaster I've ever seen. Her and Todd Raleigh are in a special category of disasterisms as we continue on the other side. She's like the captain of the Hindenburg, or the pilot. So we continue with more right after this. Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Inward Half is committed to the game and the memorable moments that happen in between. From the tee box to the tailgate, from the green to the big game. For the first birdie with Dad, the first big win with Mom. Friday night lights, Saturday superstitions, Sunday traditions. Fall into the comfort and unparalleled performance of Inward Half. This fall, enjoy the walk-in.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires, just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776, or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Fan Run Radio, where Big Orange Country comes to talk sports. Start your morning off with your daily dose of talk sports with John Reed and Cody McClure from 8 to 11. Then it's Tony Basilio from 11 to 1. The Playbook with William Pattison from 1 to 3. And The Drive from 3 to 6. It's 10 hours of hard-hitting local sports radio every day.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Start the new year with comfort and savings from Pipe Wrench Home Services. Tired of high energy bills and constant heating and AC repairs? Ready for a more efficient home? There's never been a better time to upgrade your comfort and take control of your energy costs. Upgrade your HVAC system now with Pipe Wrench Home Services and make no payments until 2027. A new energy-efficient system means lower bills, fewer breakdowns, and peace of mind for years to come. And with Pipe Wrench Home Services same-day service guarantee, you won't wait to start enjoying a more comfortable home. Your comfort isn't just our job, it's our promise. Upgrade your HVAC system now with Pipe Wrench Home Services and make no payments until 2027. Schedule your free estimate today at pipewrench.com. Pipe Wrench Home Services, trusted in Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and neighboring communities for over 20 years. Same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free. Offer good with approved credit. Some restrictions apply. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
Hey, I'm Alan, and we ship floors on Bristol Highway in Johnson City. Are you tired of walking around on that ratty-looking carpet that you have? Well, today's your lucky day because we have Supercore on sale for $1.79. 58 colors we're liquidating. Supercore is the best waterproof floor with a lifetime warranty. Where are you going to find that anywhere else? Nowhere, let me tell you. $1.79 lifetime warranty. Come on down to Bristol Highway on your truck and trailer and let's make a deal.
Gotta love this time of the year. Hoops here, home runs over there, and you've got to get your Tennessee on. And there's only one place, the best place to shop for your officially licensed Tennessee volunteer gear, Alumni Hall. Hands down, the best store for Vol fans. They've got the latest and greatest apparel for the entire family. Hats, man cave items, decor, and more. Get your Vols grill cover, a plate for your burgers, and of course, that chef's apron for all that outdoor grilling this spring. And accrue those rewards and watch your balance grow online or on the app. We'll see you at Alumni Hall and alumnihall.com and G to the B to the O, Alumni Hall. A to the B back with you. Fired up folks and prepared to present the great Adam Sparks, who's in Wednesday with Watson slot. And Adam, have you ever been around the great Watson Brown, Adam, who's a beautiful guy?
A little bit.
Beautiful guy.
I don't know him. I more know of him. But yeah, I think I've been in the same room with him a few times.
You two guys would love each other. He's just a beautiful, beautiful, fun guy. Adam, first of all, how's the health? Everything okay?
I'm typing one-armed these days. I had rotator cuff surgery on my right arm last week, so I'm going through it, but still working, just doing it with painkillers. So my speech is slurred. You know why, or at least that's the reason I'm claiming why.
Well, you're fun to be around, you know.
There you go.
And you have a smile on your face for no apparent reason. But we do bring a smile to people's faces around here. Let's talk about first things first. Your main beat, and obviously you've been doing a little bit of basketball stuff. You've been doing a little baseball stuff too. You've been sort of touching them all, which is our theme today. We're going to touch them all. We're going to run the gamut from soup to nuts, from the football team all the way to women's basketball, which I'm talking more and more about than I ever dreamed possible, but it is what it is.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Everybody likes to look at something that when they have no idea what's coming. Everybody likes to look at it. But moving along, on the football scene, obviously things are quiet by design. Let's just start with the quarterback situation. What can we glean so far from the quarterback situation based on your sources?
If they play tomorrow, George McIntyre is the starter. But that doesn't mean necessarily anything for September. None of the guys are ready. At this point, and I've said this before, they like what Ryan Staub can give them as a guy that's played, backup guy, good locker room guy, all that. But he was not brought here to be in the starting competition. So unless the other two fail, he's not going to be the starter. So let's just put him to the side for now. The other two, McIntyre obviously knows the offense better. That's what we don't, you don't see much of practice, but from every indication that we get, it shows that he knows the offense better. He can actually run it. So again, if they play tomorrow, he could run the offense to some extent. But it's just, I think their hope is, if you're getting some truth serum, I think Josh Heupel and Joey Halsley would say, we would love it if we could get George to sort of a consistency where his best is B+ and his worst is C-. But I think more of what they're getting is his best is in the C range and his worst is in the D range. So they've got to sort of get that window better of what his best and worst is. He throws the ball well. If they're running 7-on-7, I think he'd be fine. It's just all the other nuances of the job. And they've got time. I mean, they've got, 4 months or whatever. And so he'll be better. I just think that the standard that they need at that position is actually not very high. You got 4 offensive linemen that started about a half a season at least last year. You've got an all-SEC running back as a 1,000-yard rusher. You've got an athletic tight end, Ethan Davis, if he's healthy. You've got, top 3 receiving core in the conference. So the pieces are all there, which, by the way, it does make you think, if you have all those pieces and they're all ready to go, you just need a quarterback. I just look back, and I wonder if we'll look back. If the quarterback position is not good this year, I think we'll look back and say, what were their second-tier options in the quarterback market? Yeah, they couldn't afford Sorsby. I get it. Texas Tech outspends everybody. They didn't get Levitt. But, there was like 7 or 8 guys between those two guys and like a Bo Pribula that they never seem to be in on, and you just wonder if all the pieces are there. It seems like you could go get a free agent quarterback if the offense was set. But they made the decision to say what we have now is better than or is at least as good as those guys. And so we'll roll with the guys that we have, and we'll see if they're better. This is a fork in the road for Josh Heupel, because he has changed defensive coordinators. That's supposed to work. I hear really good things from that, but quarterback's got to work, and you don't want to fail because the position that you were hired most to coach fails, and that's sort of where they're pinning their hopes on.
And here's the thing, because Sean Sinclair was just saying it a second ago. In the modern game, you don't get grace. Like, you could say, well, you should. You've got 2 inexperienced players, and if they're your hand-picked quarterbacks, it's like useless. And you sat there hoping for a court ruling, which was really a Hail Mary. We kind of knew that, even though it looked after that initial response from the judge that it was going to be, hey, another one of these home games, and we're going to win a home game. But the other part of it is, which sort of comes to my mind, that's sort of been Josh Heupel's approach since the portal's become a thing. They've not been as aggressive as I would be in covering holes. Is that a fair thing to say, or no?
Yeah, John Adams and I have this conversation all the time about sort of what values that Josh Heupel has versus other coaches, what he values and how he deals with players. And some of them are admirable. I mean, he is very loyal. We know he's loyal to his coaches. He's also very loyal to players. I think he sees things through the lens of being a former assistant coach and also a former player that just identifies with players and the team concept and the relationship and the trust between coach players. He values all those things. I think sometimes in the portal era, he always considers when he's considering upgrading at a position, he always considers, how will this affect the guy that I already have and that I have a relationship with?
Yeah.
Where I think Rick Barnes, for example, obviously considers that, and Rick Barnes has the trust of his players, and he has a great relationship with his players.
Yeah.
But I do think Rick Barnes leans a little more into the, is this guy that I can get better than the guy that I have? And if the answer to that is yes, he just goes and gets him.
Yes.
And I think Josh Heupel sometimes will talk himself out of those decisions, where he'll say, is that guy better than the guy I have? Yeah, probably, but maybe not. So maybe I shouldn't pull the trigger. And I think that always comes into the equation with Josh Heupel.
Which, hey, he's a really, really good, loyal guy. But unfortunately, in that deal, you're in a super competitive situation, and the Staub guy being your third. How do I put this? If you're going to come into this year and you wanted to get a Staub guy, you got to get a better guy than that Staub guy, from what I understand from what he's shown so far. Is that a fair thing to say, again?
Boy, I don't know. I think that guy is hard to get.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What's the job description of that guy?
That's true. That's a good thought.
A guy who can play in an emergency, who has a little bit of a skill level, who has experience.
Yes.
He has to be older, and he can't be a locker room cancer. He has to be okay with holding a clipboard and teaching younger players, and not cost much NIL money because he's potentially a third string quarterback. That's a hard needle to thread. I think they thread it pretty well with him for what he is.
And so the point is, when we talk about the quarterback deal, it's not like it's horrible, but it's just not popping off the page right now. Is that a fair way? That's kind of what I hear. Is that sort of what you're? Yeah.
Yeah, but it is early.
Sure.
Josh Heupel is a phenomenal quarterback coach. Joey Halsley knows what he's doing as quarterback. Landry Jones is over there. He's got really helped Joey Aguilar. Like they've got as good a quarterback minds as you can have over there, and they do have time.
Yes.
And like I said, they don't need the quarterback to win virtually any games this year.
Yes.
They need the quarterback to play at a 7-5 level because they think the pieces around him are a 10-win level. So, you average that out, and you can have an 8 or 9 win team against a tough schedule if the quarterback can play reasonably well.
What I don't need, though, is I don't need my quarterback to be erratic. That's kind of their hope, right? Let's get these guys to the point where they're just consistent players. One of them.
Well, and that's the thing. What if they're both a little erratic?
Well, then you're in trouble.
The problem you run into is, do you stick with one till he becomes consistent, or do you say this guy's erratic? Let's go to the other erratic guy and see if he's the hot hand this game, and then you're just playing that all throughout the year. And frankly, a lot of games that there just aren't. There's a couple of gimmies early in the year, but after that, you can't be unsure going into coin flip games like Auburn or Arkansas, those types of games, because as I said, there's not gimmies, so you can't be guessing and try to figure things out during the season, which means they need to be pretty sure about a guy going into the year, and him be a clear-cut number one. Otherwise, you're playing a guessing game throughout the year. I mean, I expect after almost every game this year, we're going to ask, "How's the quarterback? What do you think about the quarterback? Is the other guy maybe an option?" I just tend to think we're gonna ask that a lot.
So it is defensively, it got to be better. Let's just say this on the front end: it cannot be worse. Nothing is worse than the way they ended the season with Vandy. Nothing's worse than the bowl game. It cannot. It is not possible for it to be worse. So from your perspective, what is better on defense? What is that going to look like? Because this guy, as we know, has a reputation of, in year one, my guys are not playing a million miles an hour. That's kind of what happened at Penn State last year. But even though they were really great against Oregon in that close loss in overtime, then the wheels kind of fell off for them after that. But what are your expectations, and what are you hearing defensively?
Well, I think, for one, sort of my micro prediction, I think how the defense plays this year I think they'll be judged more by how the team performs than how the defense performs. Like Jim Knowles' defenses always have this high stop rate. They're really good on third down. Mm-hmm. They can get quick stops. They can get a lot of 3 and outs, more than what Tennessee is used to under Tim Banks. And so you're giving it back to your offense. Well, if your offense is one that can be a quick strike and can make a team pay in that way, then the defense suddenly looks good. Look, you got a 3 and out. You got to stop early in a drive, and that led to points. But if the offense is just coming out there, not doing much, and you're putting your defense back on the field, the defense could be pretty good and it not show. The defense could be not very good yet, but we'll be blaming more of the offense. I think a lot of this just depends on how the games go. All the indications at a spring practice are the defense is ahead of schedule, picking up the scheme pretty well. There's some ups and downs of different guys. Like, for example, Chaz Coleman, the edge rusher they get from Penn State. Mm-hmm. He's been fine, but he's been inconsistent. And that can't be the case by the time he gets to the season. That's pretty typical in spring practice of transfers. Even if they do know the system, there's just hiccups. So I'm not too worried about that. I do like Jim Knowles' honesty. He's been in this game for a long time. I was fine with Tim Banks, but Tim Banks would also just sort of give you a lot of coach speak.
Yeah.
Jim Knowles the other day said, we should be pretty good. We have the right coaches, brought some players here. I picked some of these guys. And then I like the line he said, they were really good in defense 2 years ago. So it's not like these guys don't know how to play good defense. There's still a few players here that saw really good defense 2 years ago here. So shouldn't be like turning the Titanic around, And so I appreciate the honesty of a guy that says, I think we're going to be pretty good, and by the way, we probably should be good. I like that. I think I'll enjoy Jim Knowles during the year.
I hope we enjoy the defense he puts on the field. I think we will. He's a professional. And I think having the Penn State kids obviously is going to help them get a foot in the rung. We're not going to know any of this stuff till we see them on the field. Maybe they look like a Chinese fire drill the first couple weeks, and we're all in a mass panic here. But Anthony asks a very good question over here at Twitter, and I'm going to ask you this as somebody that covers the program. Because me, you, anybody that tries to focus on this stuff, there's such a secrecy around the whole NIL world for all of us. How much are you spending? What are the real figures? Where is the money coming from? Et cetera, et cetera. Anthony asks the following. I don't think it's on Josh Heupel when it comes to the portal. I think Danny White needs to turn loose of the money and quit worrying about unforceable rules that many programs are ignoring totally. And then he says, go Big Orange. And he has an orange, a basketball, and a football. And it's ironic that he have a basketball there because Rick Barnes and his group, Adam, are certainly not worried about how much money they're going to spend or how they're going to justify how they're going to spend the money. I think we will both be in agreement on that. So,
well, I mean,
go ahead.
Well, I mean, Danny White only has so much control over
That's
NIL.
Right.
I
That's
mean,
right.
he sets the parameters for the percentages, which are pretty standard percentages of the rev share. That's the money directly from the school.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny White can have some influence over boosters and over some of the other money that filters into the school that ends up being sort of de facto NIL money. He has an influence over that. He can put his thumb on the scale a little bit of that. But he's not the owner of a pro team. Like, he doesn't get to determine where money flows. There's a lot of things at play here. It's never just one thing. What's Josh Heupel's relationship with people that give NIL money, the third-party NIL money boosters, versus a Rick Barnes? I mean, that's the thing that people just have to realize in the NIL era is that you're not competing just with the other schools in your conference, those programs. You're competing with the coaches on your campus for NIL money. If I'm a booster, am I giving Rick Barnes, X number of dollars for a shooting guard, or am I giving it to Josh Heupel for a portal quarterback? And sometimes people can do both.
It's true.
But those things are always at play, and Danny White can push things one way or the other, but Danny White doesn't get to choose where that money goes. I think sometimes we have these misconceptions, again, that because this seems like pro sports, there's an owner at the top that makes all these calls, and it's just there are people that make phone calls back and forth of how much money is going to be spent on players, and Danny White's not on that call. That's between programs and boosters and programs and NIL collectives, and it's just not always Danny White. Sometimes not even on the call.
So in your perspective of this, okay, the athletic director doesn't have say over what that collective's going to do and the way they dole that money out.
Right. He has influence. He doesn't get to make the decision.
Let's use the term veto power. He does not have veto power.
I think he could have veto. He can have veto power. It's a soft veto. That's one way of putting it.
Right, because inevitably, what those money people want to do with that money is what's going to be done with that money. Let me give you, for instance, last year, Rick Barnes got hot and heavy for the cement guy, and he wooed the Haslams. In fact, he was seen at baseball games with them. He was openly wooing them, and they stroked a check. That's kind of what happened. That's sort of what you're talking about. And, to me, I'm of the perception, because Danny White said something out loud that he shouldn't have said about, I forget what the exact quote was, but it was something about we're still on probation, like excuse making, basically. Well, we're still on probation, and
yeah, when I published that story, I got some pretty interesting texts and phone calls from people in the hours after that. Like, I can't believe he said that. Yeah, that's true, but yeah, I mean, you have to realize with Danny, there's always a motive to push things, college sports, in the direction that he thinks they should go.
Yeah.
Which is collective bargaining.
We agree. Yeah.
I mean, so that's the motive behind all of it.
Yeah.
I'll say this though, for fans that think, well, you got to open the checkbook and that sort of thing. That's not a problem in football. It's not like they pinpointed a guy and said we absolutely have to have that guy, and then they were told, well, we can't afford him. The money is there for the right people. I mean, Sam Levitt, my understanding is they offered a pretty sizable amount to get Sam Levitt.
What's the number, Adam?
Even budgeted.
What's the number, Adam? It's water under the bridge. What was the number? You heard it. What was the number?
Yeah, I mean, he ended up getting, was it about $5 million from LSU? I think. Mm-hmm. Tennessee was in the neighborhood.
Wow.
If they would have gotten Ty Simpson, if Ty Simpson had gone on the market,
yeah,
Tennessee would have been able to outspend most or all the programs to get him. But how much do you want? How much did they want Ty Simpson? How much do they want Sam Levitt?
Yeah.
You can push the price, but there's an end to that price. How much would you want for Sorsby? Now they were never going to outspend Texas Tech, but the guys that they have wanted, they've been able to spend to get them. There's just always a decision there of how much do you want to spend? How much do you value a guy? And I do question how much was Levitt really worth? How much is Sorsby worth versus the alternatives? That always comes into all this. But overall, Tennessee does not have a problem with finding money. It's more internal decisions about how much you spend, where do you spend it, what's your value of each player, and every school does that. I mean, for all the Tennessee fans that say, they got to spend some money, that's what about 98% of the schools around the country, their fan bases are also saying. You just don't hear it because you're not in the mix every day of those fan bases. But I talk to beat writers around the country, and all of them just say, the school that I cover has a reputation that they're just not spending enough money. They're not spending as much money as X. And X is always like 5 schools, and it's the same 5 schools.
Here's the thing. We don't, at the end of the day, we don't know. Like, we hear these figures, and it's great. I love the figures. You love the figures. I love the I love the speculation. It's fun. It's it's good for my business. This portal window that's getting ready to happen in basketball when they attempt to put together this terrific roster that they're going to go after is going to be wild. Watching it. I just think it's interesting that they're doing it in basketball and not football. And people will say, well, it's easier in basketball because it's only a few players.
Yes.
And that is true. However, the money exists if the coach goes and asks for the money from the right people to do it in football, doesn't it?
I think it's interesting that, for a while there, Rick Barnes having the ceiling of the Elite Eight was sort of a negative. Right.
Yes.
Well, yeah, he can get to the Elite Eight, but he can't get to the Final Four. It's never going to happen. I think now it's been a positive because it's looked at as, the Elite Eight. He's pretty close.
Yeah.
He's pretty close.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more, and you're there. And I think that sort of fueled a lot of the money of the past couple of years. That you're close. Now, how close is football? And again, like you mentioned it, football is usually not adding a player; it's adding 7 or 8 players. Mm-hmm. So, and you have the burn of the Nico situation. You give a lot of money to a kid. You did get to the playoff, but it didn't pan out for that player specifically. But yeah, I mean, if Josh Heupel were to, let's just say Josh Heupel were to win 10 games this year and win a game in the playoff. And you say that's a second round playoff team, and a lot of the pieces are coming back. I'll bet you a year from now, it would be a lot easier to get somebody on the phone and say, "Listen, we just need a pass rusher. Listen, we just need a running back." It'll be easier to get that, but right now the football team looks like it's an 8-4 type team. And does one player make a lot of difference there? And if so, what is that player?
That's a good point.
It's different with basketball. It's not, you got to the Elite Eight. It's, you get to the Elite Eight. I mean, I think in baseball, there's a correlation there that if, I don't think it's going to happen this year, but let's say Josh Elander, they got hot and they got to Omaha and lost a couple of games and they were done.
Yeah.
And most of the team is coming back. I bet it'd be a lot easier to get that one pitcher that you needed to go deeper into Omaha than it would be. It's about getting close enough and giving people a taste. And again, a lot of times it's the same people choosing where their money goes and what percentages of that money goes. And, if it's my check and it's 7 or 8 figures, where do I want to put it? I want to put it to the one that can give me a chance to win a national title. And right now, Rick Barnes looks like he's in the neighborhood, and football's good, but it's not in that neighborhood. And,
but it could have been.
Here's
what's interesting, and I brought this up the other day, and people got mad at me, but I'm gonna bring it up again because I got to thinking about it. The way I said it probably wasn't good. I got all emotional, but just thinking, if you just take Tennessee out of the equation, let's say I have a team that makes the playoff. And let's say it's kind of a screwy playoff system, but I'm one of the Elite Eight in college football. That's what that is. You've made the playoff. An 8-team. This is 2 years ago. This is an 8-team playoff. I'm getting on the field with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, Michigan, I would say, is a good comparison for Ohio State. Michigan had a pretty good team, and they went out last year. They had like a Sweet 16 level team, and they had 3 starters coming back, and they recruited over all 3 of those guys. And Ohio State had a very good team, and they went and got the Downs kid from Alabama, and they went and got somebody from Ole Miss, and they went and got somebody out of Texas, and they went and got somebody over here, and somebody from Florida, and somebody off this roster, and they made a super team. That's what they did. And then they went out and hammered everybody. When Tennessee got on the field, they could have said to themselves, you know what? We got Nico coming back next year. We just made a playoff. Let's get super aggressive in the portal. I'm going to go to these boosters, and I'm going to ask them to help me. We just got a taste of it. But we didn't do that. And I just think that's not only didn't we do it, we just sort of acted like it didn't happen. It was, I don't know. Looking back at that, it was a little bit strange. Your perspective, somebody that covers the program. Yes or no?
It was a missed opportunity. I think some of that internally, they talked them into saying, well, next year we all know we'll take a little bit of a step back. Because remember, that defense was really old.
Yeah.
And it graduated all those 5th-year, 6th-year guys. So I think they said, well, we were in the neighborhood this year, but we all understand next year we're probably going to take a half a step back. Whether Nico's here, Nico's gone, whatever. And I think there's probably some truth to that.
Yeah.
But in this era, you cannot, you just can't think that way. Every year you have to be a contender because every year you have the potential to remake your whole roster. And I think there was a little bit of that let the foot off the gas. Or maybe not let the foot off the gas. I think they just didn't punch the gas.
They didn't try. Right. That is the strangest thing about when Tennessee appeared in the playoffs. Because right now, Rick Barnes just said, you know what? We got to the 8, which is the same thing. We got in the ring with a heavyweight, and they beat us up. And by the way, his message to his team, it's on film after the game, is, you guys, we're going to get past this round, and you guys are going to be a part of it. You guys, those of you that aren't here are a part of this. You're a part of this legacy, but we're going to go out and we're going to put together. That's what they're getting ready to do. For the life of me, I don't understand why our football coach doesn't think the same way.
Yeah, and I think for Josh Heupel, he's got to show that he's got that, just for his long term. He's been a very good coach so far. But for his long-term success, his viability, he's got to show that there is always that chance that he's got one more gear, that he can not just, that the ceiling is not, because, the reputation is he has a high floor, right? But his ceiling is about 10 wins. He's not going to win a national title. He may get you to the playoff, but that's about it. That's his reputation. Yeah. He has to show that any given year he does have the potential to do it one time. I used this example with John on our podcast the other day. if Josh Heupel and Dabo Swinney are both on the coaching market right now, they both are kind of viewed as the same guy. They both would take over a program and win 8 or 9 games. Josh Heupel, Dabo Swinney, same guy. The difference is you would say, yeah, but, Dabo's won it all. So there's always that chance he could win it all because he did win it all. But you look at him as kind of the same guy. I'm talking like right now. They're both, you'll be good with them. I don't know if you'll be great. But with Dabo Swinney, you can always say, but he did do it. He has done it, so he can do it. I think Josh Heupel, if he doesn't show that he can get there at least one time, he's going to be that guy that people say, well, they're going to win 8 or 9 games this year, but he doesn't have it in him to go that extra step. And just so much goes into that, the right schedule, right players. But NIL-wise, I do think they have to be aggressive. Well, not even NIL plus transfer portal. They have to be aggressive in the off season to say the door's open this year. We've got to punch through it.
It's really and what they've done here with the sport is made it really interesting. This basketball thing, and look, you're not stock and trade a basketball like cover guy, but I know you're taking pieces of it now with what's happened. And all the best to Mike, but the interesting thing about this basketball thing is that we know they're getting ready to swing for the fences. I don't know if they're going to hit home runs or not. I have no idea. Nobody knows how that stuff's going to turn out. But the fact that they're going to attempt to do this is pretty interesting, isn't it, Adam? It's really interesting.
Yeah, well, and I mean, obviously Rick Barnes is driving this. Again, This is the guy whose reputation has changed over time, right?
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
He's not just an Elite Eight coach. He's a guy that you can almost guarantee he will get that deep. So you just need a little bit more. So he seems more of a guarantee that he'll be really good. You just have to get it to great. And so that makes it more attractive to go and spend a little money. The fact that he's 71 years old, you've got sort of an urgency, a ticking clock. I mean, his health's great. He may coach another 5 years. But each year you're saying, while you've got a coach that can get you to the Elite Eight, just waking up in bed in the morning, you better utilize this open window. Give him everything that he needs, because this may be the last year you can do it with him. And then the other thing is just, I mean, Rick Barnes, I'm amazed by. Again, I didn't cover him directly, but I would help out coverage a little bit. When the NIL transfer portal thing came through, Rick Barnes' demeanor was just like, oh, you could just see it like what every other older coach at the time had. In the sport that I cover, Nick Saban had it, right? Like, I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with it. Rick Barnes, somewhere in there, sort of turned around and saw the benefits of it where other older coaches didn't. And he said, I don't have to babysit anymore. I don't have to deal with a bunch of 18-year-olds that have to mature over a couple of years, a bunch of nonsense. If I play this right, I'm going to get grown men that want to be professionals in 9 months. And so it was, he still gets to teach and coach, but he is getting determined grown men that make a lot of money that are just here for 9 months and they want to learn how to be an NBA player. And so he saw the benefit in that. And I think when you flip your mind over that way, it's a lot easier to change out rosters and say, these are the mercenaries and I'm bringing them for 1 year and we're going to take a shot at it with them. If it doesn't work, I'm going to go bring in, 7 or 8 more guys.
And the interesting thing is he's going to change. He's going to alter his thinking, his approach, and they're going to go with some offensive guys this time around. This Lumbley guy doesn't defend anybody. Yeah, I'm not sure he could defend me in the playground. But he can flat out shoot a basketball. I mean, William Pattison said at a gym practice open thing, he shot like 176 three balls in a brief period and made like 172 of them or some crazy number like that, whatever the number was. And he's well over 40% in his career. He's a 95% foul shooter. When you watch him from the foul line, the ball doesn't come close to hitting the rim. It's one of those deals where it just goes right through the swish, as we used to say back in the day. And so I think that's also a remarkable side of Barnes here, to see a guy not only embrace the portal, but then say, you know what? My approach, I don't have all the answers. I've got to also adjust to the time and the game, and it's becoming more offensive, and the rules are letting people get more offensive. I just think this thing is I just think it's a great story. I think both basketball teams right now, Adam, are well worth really paying attention to. They're both really interesting stories at this time of the year for different reasons.
I think there's an interesting comparison between the two because I do think Rick Barnes is going to pull off probably a delicate bait and switch with the players that he gets.
Yeah.
Yes, he's going to add a lot of offensive guys, and he is going to focus on offense. They have to score. They're going deeper in the tournament. They have to have more scoring, more offense. But when those players get here, like they're going to figure out, well, this guy is a defensive coach, and I'm going to have to defend to a certain standard, or I'm not going to play. So it's him saying I'm going more offensive, but old dog, old tricks. I mean, he's still going to be a defensive coach, and so, but he's been around long enough that it's not necessarily a bait and switch, but it's. You could change your mindset, but you're still going to have to play a certain amount of defense. It's about getting the players here, getting them in the program. On the Lady Vol side, there's no bait and switch because you don't know what the bait is and you don't know when she's going to switch. You know what I mean?
Well, how
what
about
are you
this?
signing up for?
How about this? How about she goes out, because this is what I'm hearing, and she stocks a roster with a bunch of mid-major type players, and they press and run. And they get away from the guy that recruited all the great players has gone to LSU. And now the whole team's leaving. Everybody knows that.
Well, here's the thing, Tony.
Yeah.
If the goal was, if this is a sweepstakes, if Kim Caldwell gets $100 million, if she can just keep her job for 2 seasons.
Right.
The way to do that would be what you just said. Go recruit high 3-star, low 4-star role players and win 20-plus games and probably have a Sweet 16 team.
Dumb your
because
schedule down.
Her system can get to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
But if the goal is to be a top 10 team, national title contender, that's, that ceiling's not going to work. So I do think she's got an interesting dilemma now of, if you go get 5-star players, you're probably going to have to change your system, which she realized this year. But she says she's not going to change her system. She's going to go back to it. So, I mean, I used to cover Conference USA and Sun Belt Conference for a long time in my career. And I got calls during that of people asking me about Kim Caldwell the last couple of weeks, asking, is there any chance she gets fired? And I would say, well, why are you asking? It's like, because we would love to have her at a mid-major program. Because that system, with the level that we recruit to, she'd be perfect here. She'd win 28 games a year here. And because that's the reputation. She's a very good mid-major coach with a mid-major system. The question is, can she translate that to a top-tier program? Hasn't yet. I mean, they overachieved last year, but they were also still 8-8 in the SEC. They were 8-8, I think, both years in the SEC. So
her defense is a layup line, man. No offense to her. And Adam, you're the man. I love you. I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us. And my best in your recovery. It's always good to hear your voice.
Yep. Good to be on, Tony. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Adam. The great Adam Sparks. Sean, I apologized on Monday because it was the way I said it. I got very upset and all, emotional. Because I see what Barnes is getting ready to do. Man, when you're in that spot and you're one of these coaches in this era, and Adam just said it, you got to work these money people for that extra money, that extra cheese that's on that table, like Tony Vitello did. And that's how you build your roster. You got to fight. You got to fight the fellow coaches on your campus for that money. And Barnes is getting ready to take advantage of it because there's money laying around. And they're getting ready to go for it. I just think it's interesting.
Well, I do too. My question was, okay, the assumption is you just throw more money at it. But this guy's been a coach for a long time. He has the high floor.
Yeah.
He has the less than championship ceiling. There's a reason for that. And it's not because he doesn't have or hasn't had resources. I think it's because of the way he coaches. I think it's the way he runs his program. I think it's the way he is dogmatic in the way that he, or, stubborn, if you will, in the way 2 fouls, you sit on the bench.
Yep.
You're going to play defense. The guys that he's attracted to, I have nothing against these guys, but you have the Abrams guy, you have Boswell, you have Berg, and you have, was it Mariev, something like that? It's 4 guys who are give or take a degree. That's 4 guys that are the exact same player.
Well, they were trying to fill a need when they missed on that kid.
But the point is, it's Meshack too.
But that's
Ziegler. Okay. I'm saying that's 1 year. This has been 30 years. This is exactly. I'm not criticizing him. This is exactly why Texas let him go. Do they regret it? Maybe. Perhaps they do. We've been better than Texas. But you take a look at why is Dusty May at Michigan. Michigan won with the Fab Five. They won through the years. And all of a sudden, here's Dusty May. Boom, they're winning. Why is Arizona back? I understand blue bloods, et cetera, but no, there are things that people do that get you over the hump. People talk about, Rick Barnes, what he's done here, and he's the greatest coach. Okay, well, I'll go with that. Bruce Pearl took Auburn to 2 Final Fours. Auburn's a joke unless your last name's Person or Charles Barkley. So, and I'm not advocating Bruce Pearl. I'm saying, what is it about him and his system, the way he does things, that is self-limiting that you can't go to the Final Four? Is it just more money? I doubt that.
Cinco coming in hot. Your thoughts? 865-200-5402. As we continue with more on the other side, hour number 2 on the radio. God, we're way late, man. Way late.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
It's the hottest postgame show on the planet. Garza Law. 5th quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm gonna hop online and I'm gonna get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
When a dangerous, overgrown, or storm-damaged tree is threatening your home, your car, or your family, don't risk it. Call ECR Total Landscapes, your local tree-cutting experts. From precision tree removal and trimming to emergency storm cleanup, ECR Total Landscapes has the equipment and the experience to get the job done safely and efficiently. Call today to set up your free estimate, 865-384-2012, or just go online to ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama Zizi approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and Zizi.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols.
Yeehaw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today. Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
VIP Play coming soon. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Chilio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
From the sunrise over the Smokies to the Saturday cheers at Neyland Stadium, Knoxville isn't just where we live, it's home. But let's be honest, finding your perfect spot in a hot market can feel like a full-time job. Whether you're looking for a Craftsman in 4th and Gill, a family home in Farragut, or a view in South Knox, the market moves fast. You need more than a listing. You need an edge. And that's where I come in, Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty. And I specialize in helping Knoxville buyers win. I don't just find houses, I find the right fit for your budget and your lifestyle. Ready to unlock your front door? Visit nextmovesmokymountains.com or call me at 865-694-5904. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com. And as always, go Vols.
TB back with you. I love the great Jennifer Morris. She's next level. Tomorrow, the great Watson Brown will be in with us, but now it's phone calls. Phone calls. And Sean, do you back up from what you just said regarding Barnes and the super team next year, which you're wondering, okay, we're going to spend all this money, and then what? That was sort of your response. That's sort of your response to all this, yes?
Well, my question is just adding more money get you to another level? Or, I mean, is he going to, you've said it for years, he grinds his guys into the dust. He has an affinity for the tough defensive player that's limited offensively. He has, except for Connect, he doesn't suffer kids that don't play defense the whole game. He doesn't suffer kids that take stupid shots. I'm not advocating stupid shots or be Cam Carr and don't play defense, but there has to be there's a reason, and it's not just luck's okay over a 5-year period.
Yeah,
not over a 40-year career.
I'm giving the man a ton of credit.
Gene Katie, same thing. Gene Katie is a perfect example.
I'm giving this man a ton of credit for evolving. I'm giving this man a ton of credit for competing in the NIL era with the best of them and having the organization to do that, not being afraid to kind of tamper around other people's rosters, which is what they're doing. I give the man a lot of credit for changing his ways and being more, getting away from the implacable defense first thing, which is what they're doing. Last year when they got beat by Houston, they decided we needed a bigger basketball team. That's why they went and a more rugged team. That's why they went and added the Carey kid and pieces like that. And then this time around, and to some extent the Evans kid from Pittsburgh, tough guys. And then this time around they looked at it and said, okay, well, we actually need more skill, so we're going to add more shooting with the thought that the defensive players we have are going to be able to fill in the holes around these offensive guys. And we'll see if it works. I don't know if they're going to get home with everybody they're trying to get, but I'll tell you, eventually, when they get him or don't get him, I'll say, yeah, that was the guy we were talking about, or that was off the board, or they tried to get after the fact. I'm going to say, hey, this is what I was talking about a couple weeks ago. This is what I thought the team was going to be, and let's see if they can get there. If they can get there, it's going to be. I'm telling you, you're going to freak out. The living listener is going to go, geez, Louise, this is crazy. The fact that Adam's hearing what I'm hearing, they're going for it. They are flat out going for it. Sean says, okay. If you go for it, see, what happens is, this is what's crazy about sports. If you get all those people that I think they have a pretty good chance of getting, if you get the people I think, then all of a sudden the pressure really increases on you. Because really, if you're Barnes next year, it looks to me, I could be wrong, it looks to me like you're carrying the weight of the sports program. Football's got a 6.5 win total. I'm just keeping it real with you. Hey, don't shoot the messenger here. But they got a 6.5 win total out of Vegas. That doesn't exactly engender a lot of, I don't know. Let's put it this way. You're probably not buying your playoff tickets. And then the other thing is that women's basketball, he's going to bring this lady back. No offense to her, and no offense to those of you that want to hang on to the dream. She's what we call, in my neck of the woods, a total disaster. Now,
well,
I could be wrong.
With her is her intransigence about this system she has.
Yeah,
is quickly going to make the Lady Vol brand irrelevant. I mean, like Mark, you had Mark on there saying Griffin yesterday saying, I mean, this is the easiest system to recruit against. If you're a high-powered, well-known player, sure, you can have your money, but you're going to be playing in for 2 or 3 minutes, run up and down the court 3 or 4 times. You're not going to, you're going to lose games to big-time players, and then you're going to have. Are you going to put up? Are all these players leaving because it's their fault? That's not a good sales pitch.
To the phones we go. The whole thing is. People are like, well, you're a champion again. I'm not champion against anybody. I just call balls and strikes.
Me neither.
On here. I call balls and strikes. That's my job. And I've never seen a bigger disaster than this women's basketball program. What this lady's done. I've never seen anything like this. Her whole roster is getting ready to leave her, including the number 2 player in America. That is a worst kept secret in the world, that when that portal opens next week, she wants out. And they lost a coach to LSU yesterday, who everybody told, well, he was a problem. Okay, well, he was such a problem that the lady at LSU, who does not play. Okay, now she wears costumes that would make Ric Flair blush on the sidelines, and it is kind of all about her. But she's not going to bring in some joker. She's not going to bring in some joker coker. Okay, into her deal. So, but here's the thing: Barnes lands all these guys. He's going to be carrying the weight of the athletic department next year on his shoulders, and that's going to be all about getting to the Final Four. It's because that's what we're doing. I mean, this is wild. This is wild what they're going to attempt to do. We'll see if they can do it. And Sean says, well, who's your head coach? If you acquire all this talent, who's the thought I hadn't had? It's a thought I hadn't had. Now, I'll tell you this. I believe in Barnes because I think he has a track record. Sean's saying I don't believe him because he has a track record. And I think we can both say that and both be right. I think it's an interesting discussion. I'll put it that way. I didn't think Sean would say that, but I honor him saying that. I respect him saying that. It's how he feels. That's what we do here.
I think some people said the same thing about Matt Painter at Purdue.
Yes, Brian.
But he went out and crashed the Final Four when he got, well, you had a special player who, I don't mean special in a great way, but who was allowed to commit lots of fouls, but he got there with them, got to the championship game with them.
Yeah.
Well, I want to clarify I believe in Rick Barnes. I think he's a great ambassador. I think he's a Hall of Fame coach. He's earned that.
Yep.
I think he's an incredible ambassador for the school. I'm proud that he's our head coach. He's a developer of men. He's every game he plays against the opposing coach just regales him and just covers him in glory and respect and what he's accomplished. Your question was, or the topic was, how do you get to that next step? And my question to you was, is just spending more money, is that the answer? I don't have any. I'm not poking Rick Barnes. Adam said it to him. Adam Sparks just said it. His reputation is that he can't get to the Final Four.
Back to the phones.
I didn't do it.
Back to the phones we go. 865-200-5402. Hello and welcome in. You're on our Wednesday edition.
What do you say, Tony?
Hey, Philly. Long time no hear, man.
How are you and Cinco and Brian doing?
Hope you're well, Philadelphia. Good to hear from you, brother. The mayor of Sono.
I'm hanging in there.
Yes, sir.
I was just in Cinco's chair about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, a meeting of the alleged minds. Hey, Cinco, could you see with that high-powered equipment of yours right through Philly's basketball brain? Could you see it, Cinco, in the light?
You couldn't see through that. That brain of the mayor of South Knoxville was so dense with information, with experience, with know-how. If I had the Hubble telescope, I couldn't see through that thing. That thing is so jam-packed.
Bang!
I just sit back and marvel.
Bang!
Yeah, while he's working on me, Tony, he was saying Gene Katie. That's pretty cool, you know?
He was using the Gene Katie. Cinco!
Guys, I hope Barnes stays at least until Danny White's out of here, because the alternative of Danny White getting us another basketball coach is something I don't want to go through.
What do you think of his women's hire? Feels a little interesting, isn't it? Why wouldn't he just fire her and move on? Why is?
Yeah.
Would you want this hanging around you for another year like it's going to hang around poor Danny White? What is he doing?
No. It's going to put more pressure on Heupel, and
yes,
that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
People are going to be very upset if they don't do more than 7-5. I mean, that's more projected to go, isn't it? 7-5 with the football team.
Well, that's what when Vegas introduces your total at 6.5. Here's the thing about Vegas totals. If you want to throw your money away, bet on those, because nobody knows what's on these rosters. I don't care. They've proven that to us. They will adjust those. That one year, a couple years ago, Florida State, they adjusted their power rating like 18 points after 5 weeks. Nobody knows what's on these rosters.
Well, speaking of rosters, Tony, I think what Barnes' problem is, y'all kind of gone over it about the offense and defense, this, that, and the other. Part of it's been his rosters haven't been balanced. Really, the best roster he had was the Grant and Admiral roster. We had Lamonte Turner and Bone and East Pons and Bowden and all that. But that's the deepest roster. And Fulkerson was on that team. That was a deep roster that had a lot. It was very flexible.
They got beat in the 16, Phil. What happened there, too, if you remember that, they got beat in the 16 and they became more defensive after that because Jim Bermuda Schwartz, who's over at ECU now, started recruiting those athletic-type guys that were more defender first and then will grow your offensive game. So they went through that iteration there for a little while. And, I mean, if you think about it, Springer even the high-level guys, Springer and Keon were both defensive first, and then the offense is going to come. They were both really good defensively from that perspective.
Yeah.
So, you've got a pretty good point. What about Philly, them going super team here and going with these? This Lundblad guy is a guy they never get involved with 5 years ago, Phil. Never.
Well, I'd take him. We need shooting bad. I mean, look what we got on there right now. Do we got any shooters left on the campus? I mean,
yes.
Really the best three-point shooter they got is Estrella, and he don't even shoot threes.
Yeah, and like James Daniels saying here, the Connect roster was probably their best, and I agree with that. I think the Connect roster was the best because the thing that the team that lost to Purdue didn't do was they were not good defensively when they needed to be in the moment. They let that Klein guy go off on them, and they didn't have an answer. They couldn't guard that kid.
Yeah. Well, I just hope that they can get them a good team for next year.
Yep.
You got to get a point guard, regardless of whatever they do. The kid from Furman, that'd be a good point guard for him. He's in the portal now. He had 21 against UConn in the NCAA tournament. You think Tennessee be interested in him?
I love that. Brian loves that kid. I love the kid from Furman. Tennessee's going to shoot higher, Phil.
Higher than that?
Shoot higher.
Well, who's out there that's better than him?
Much higher.
Got any names?
No. Not that I can share. I will get literally, I don't know what the word would be, but it would not be pretty.
Would you take a Santos Surreal?
Sure.
Replace Acapara right there, wouldn't it?
Sure, I would. Absolutely.
They went to the same high school.
There are, Philly, I think they're going to go big at that position too. I think they're going to get a good, going to get a name and going to pay for it because they need somebody that can rim rock. They're looking for somebody that can shoot it too from that position, but can rim rock and defend. And this is going to be wild, Phil, at the end of the day, I think.
Well, who do you foresee on this year's roster that they'll be gone from this team?
I wrote it yesterday, Phil. The guys they want back. Yeah, the guys they want back. Look, I think that Estrella and also the kid from North Carolina, Boswell, I think are both kind of, I don't want to say 50-50, but those are my flight risk guys. And then they don't know if they want to. They want to get in the bidding war with Evans with the Northeastern schools because Evans has that Northeastern kind of thing about him, and Villanova's all over him. There are a couple other teams in the Northeast that are going to really pay that kid. I love that Evans kid. I would pay him. I think he's going to be a very good player here, Phil.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a good shooter, but I mean, Sean made a good point. We got too many guys over there that can't shoot.
Yes.
So you maybe keep one of them for defense.
Yes.
And like you said, get the rest of them for offense. And in the end, offense wins games.
That's the conclusion Barnes has come to. And you know what, Phil? I give him a lot of credit. He could easily say, like Kim Caldwell, my system's the answer. Hey, Kim, I got news for you. Your system's going to get your ass fired. No offense to you.
Tony, who's going to be the new assistant coach in basketball?
Philly, they want a former head coach if they can get home with one. I hear that Kim English, they'd like to work out something with him. I think Barnes is open to doing that. I don't know if Kim wants to get back into it or wants to hold out for a head coaching job. Matt McMahon's another name to watch. Anybody that's got head coaching experience is what Barnes wants, somebody that can take some heat off him.
Well, you know that Matt McMahon is kind of an offensive coach, which
That's interesting.
Might be.
I hadn't even thought about that. I haven't even thought about that.
And there are some players on the LSU roster that were able to score. Now, there are a lot of them. A lot of that LSU roster's in the portal right now. And Will Wade's going to, he's going to bring in a whole new roster down there at LSU.
Sure he is. Sure he is. LSU did have a couple nice scoring pieces, Phil, to your point. Got a couple guys that could shoot the ball from the outside.
But it's all about point guard, Tony. Yeah. We got to have one.
This is going to be
I'm going to get off here.
Yeah, thank
See
you,
you.
Phil. Somebody's asking who would pay Boswell big money. That's not the issue. The issue is Bishop Boswell going to accept the fact that he's going to go from, I don't know. Brian, what would you guess Bishop Boswell average minutes-wise this year? Because his minutes probably weren't as high as they should have been because he was always in foul trouble because he played sort of like a whirling dervish. But like, what, around 20 a game? Would that be your guess?
Low 20s probably.
Yeah. He going to play.
No more than 25.
He's going to play on that team next year if he's lucky, 10 to 12 minutes a night. So, good hearing from you, Mayor. 865-200-5402. 865-200-5402. The numero uno, if you want to get in the hunt and in the mix with us. And, yeah, it's like somebody said the answer is too many. That's true. It wasn't his fault. You know, when you're in that spot and you're him and you give it your best, it's not your fault. I think that them getting to the Elite Eight with the roster they had, the construction that they had, to me is an A+++++ coaching job. It's what it is. It's a great coaching job by them to get that far. And they simply got into a knife fight the other day, holding a like a plastic fork. And there's no crime in that, but they had zero chance in that game. As in zero. Back to our phones we go. 865-200-5402. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, Tony, Zach, and Johnson, calling from Johnson City today.
Welcome in, brother.
Hey, my man. This super team thing, this is not exactly a healthy way for us, because now, you know, contrary to what we've all said, especially you, it's no longer about the journey on this team. You know, it's all about the last Sunday in March.
I don't know about that. If you put together a Michigan-type team, how much enjoyment will we get out of that all year if we started like pounding people, beating people's faces in?
I agree. Well, that's true, but still, even you can say that, and that is true. It would be nice to, you know, rack up 30 during the regular season, but it's still all cut. I mean, that's all for naught if you're not making a Final Four. And that, I just don't know if it's just going to cause more consternation. It's really gotten to kind of an absurd point. And it's not just Barnes' fault. It's the weight of, you know, 20. Since we started competing in basketball in 97, you know, it's 30 years worth of, you know, just mishaps. Are they, if Tennessee goes after, so if they go after the Belmont guy, is the guy from Georgia, are they still interested in him? Is it Freeman?
No, Freeman is from Auburn. That's the kid,
Auburn.
And I think Tennessee is interested in him. That's the kid that played for Shirts, Brian, is that right? No, he didn't play for Shirts. I'm sorry. He played for Shirts' successor up at Lincoln Memorial, home of the Rail Splitters. But yeah, they like him. They think they can refine his game some. He didn't have the best year shooting the ball, but he's sort of a raw athlete. They liked him before. They like him now. They kind of feel like there's more of a player there. I think they're interested in him. The kid from Georgia, I don't know. If he's going to be a take. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on the Wilkinson kid, and that might be the guy you're thinking of.
That's who it is. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there.
It'd be cool to bring in these guys and see what happens. I'm hoping that maybe we can take advantage of, like, I don't know if there's any players off of that North Carolina team now that they've lost their head coach, or any of these other teams that have lost their head coach, because that creates a chance.
See,
and maybe, I don't know if there's anybody at LSU that's good enough that we would even want.
Well, you bring up a great point, and the point is this. There are going to be surprise guys that enter the portal that might make you deviate from your initial plan. And Sean, I think as a coach, you have to be able to react to that If somebody enters that portal that you think's better than the guy you're currently able to pay the money to, but you like this one better, don't you almost have to jump on that next guy, Sean? Or do you stay with where you are, Cinco? What would you do if you're them?
I don't know. I guess you could do it both ways. Lane Kiffin, did an about face on Levitt. He was, all about Levitt, and then all of a sudden it looked like it was not going to happen, and then Levitt comes up here. So I guess you just try to get the best players you can, and I guess the best players you can according to your budget and how you're going to allocate it.
Well, it's just it's starting to get maybe at least for me and some people I know, it's starting to get borderline unhealthy in the way.
Oh, well, that's the other thing. Yeah. Some people greet what we're talking about as exciting news, and some people are saying this isn't college basketball anymore. Newsflash, it's not college basketball anymore.
No.
I don't know what to tell you. It's not.
No, we passed that mailbox a long time ago.
Yes, we did. And you either say, I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. Like, to me, you said it the other day on a post-game show, and it's a great sentiment to repeat. We get together on those cold winter nights and heat it up on here after games, and we do it after every basketball game. We do it in the fall. We did it after the Duke scrimmage. We do it after every single. We don't pick and choose. We do it after every single game because we're committed to it. We go hard in the paint. I was up till 3:15 in the morning Friday night with the cast and crew. Brian fell asleep on the air. God bless him, but he's committed to it. Anybody that would conk out with their earpiece on and their microphone right there is committed to it. And at one point we could hear snoring. I had to go over there.
I didn't hear that.
I had to go over and hit the mute button on Bri. But we go hard in the paint.
That's because the mute button was activated. That's why you didn't hear.
That's why we didn't hear snoring.
Oh,
I love Brian.
I heard something that you didn't hear that nobody else did.
I love Brian.
Yeah, I love Brian too.
Yep.
I love Cinco. I think it's cool that he's interested in this basketball thing. I know, that's not his main jam.
That's
but,
right. That's right.
It's a family affair, to quote Sly Stallone.
That's right. And some people are angry with Sean for what he said. Hey, some people are angry with Sean for what he said, but to quote Sylvester Stallone, Sean's everyday people. He's everyday people. He gets a vote. He's allowed to say that. It's an interesting thought that hadn't occurred to me, which is, so you're going to throw all this money at this roster, and who's going to coach it? I think that's a valid thing to say. Now, I believe in Barnes. I believe if you can get him a one-seed team, they can get there. He showed that at Texas. But look, I think that there's, what's the word here? I think there's room to say that. I mean, I always think about this show, we're in a barbershop. Or you're sitting around with your buddies, and you're in the man cave, and you're hanging out. That's what we're doing. Women are welcome. It's not just the man cave. But you're sitting around with your buddies. And I've always said, women that can sit there and converse sports I just love y'all. I love my women. I love my women that can sit there and talk sports. I'm down with that. Okay, so don't get me wrong here. But we're going to come back on the other side. 865-200-5402. We're going to get some more calls in. We'll continue the conversation as we roll it on back. Miraculously, there is one line available for you. The Playbook with William Pattison. Oh, that line's taken. The Playbook with William Pattison is on the way next at Fan Run Radio. More after this.
Hey, I'm Alan at We Ship Floors on Bristol Highway in Johnson City. Are you tired of walking around on that ratty-looking carpet that you have? Well, today's your lucky day because we have Supercore on sale for $1.79. 58 colors we're liquidating. Supercore is the best waterproof floor with a lifetime warranty. Where are you going to find that anywhere else? Nowhere, let me tell you. $1.79 lifetime warranty. Come on down to Bristol Highway on your truck and trailer and let's make a deal.
You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land? Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. For hundreds in our area, custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contract. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contracting.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Tony Basilio here, and I got the great Chad Stockton of FC Alliance 2026. Chad, do you believe we've made it?
Boys and girls teams start off the new year at big national event showcases. We got our younger kids training indoors and doing a lot of things to get better. So we're excited about what the future holds.
Chad, I hear the juice behind you. I hear the kids. Your program reaches throughout East Tennessee. If folks want to get involved, what's the advice?
We're easy to get in touch with. We offer players at all ages, all levels, all experience. We have a program for all of our kids that we have, and we're excited for anyone to join us.
And even some Lady Vols as well. Several college players all over the country, yes?
Absolutely. We had a lot of girls that we were able to watch play in the NCAA tournament. A lot of our former players made big runs through the tournament. We're so excited for them.
Growing the beautiful game in this, the year of the World Cup in North America. Celebrate the beautiful game. Get your child involved. FCAllianceKnox.org. That's FCAllianceKnox.org. And Chad, thank you, man. Keep growing the beautiful game.
Absolutely, Tony, and thank you very much.
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
From the sunrise over the Smokies to the Saturday cheers at Neyland Stadium, Knoxville isn't just where we live, it's home. But let's be honest, finding your perfect spot in a hot market can feel like a full-time job. Whether you're looking for a Craftsman in 4th and Gill, a family home in Farragut, or a view in South Knox, the market moves fast. You need more than a listing. You need an edge. And that's where I come in, Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty. And I specialize in helping Knoxville buyers win. I don't just find houses, I find the right fit for your budget and your lifestyle. Ready to unlock your front door? Visit nextmovesmokymountains.com or call me at 865-694-5904. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com. And as always, go Vols.
Like our 2026 football Vols, score a T3 TD every time with T3 Vodka, Tennessee's premium vodka. Handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. Right here, handcrafted in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Quality around here isn't just a promise, it's a way of life. And T3's filtered 10 times. 80 proof of vodka delivering a smoothness unmatched. This dedication to excellence has earned T3 Vodka prestigious accolades, like a 5-time gold medal award-winning vodka and your SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner as well. Whether you're sipping it neat, on the rocks, mixing your favorite cocktail, T3 Vodka, your choice for a premium award-winning experience. Be like Maury Hanks. Score a T3 TD. Ask for T3 Vodka by name at restaurants and wine and liquor stores today. Drink it neat, drink it right, and score a T3 TD all 2026 long. Tennessee's Premium Vodka. T3, Tennessee's Premium Vodka. Distributed by Empire Distributors of Tennessee. Tony B back with you, 865-200-5402. Fired up, folks, and prepared. Went and sat in the park yesterday. I had a couple people give me a what's up. I love y'all. Somebody looked over at me. That's that radio. I was sitting under a tree yesterday. It's kind of chilling. It was so nice outside. Of course, the air. I don't like the air, but you know, we're living in the Garden of Eden here. We go for the allergy sufferer. Let's go. It's so beautiful, though. God, so beautiful. 865-200-5402. Robust conversation. Last year it was, we shouldn't spend that money on freshmen. For the record, Brian, I would not in basketball spend money on freshmen. I would go get proven commodities in college basketball. How many freshmen, super freshmen, did Michigan have, Bri?
I wouldn't do it 2 years in a row.
Now the Berries guy, when you get a guy like that Berries guy at Arizona, let me talk. Because he is his name. He buries. That guy's next level. We'll go back to the phone.
You could make the same take. You could make the same claim about a Tommy Lloyd that he couldn't get there either until he did, and he did.
Well, that's the issue, Brian. He got he
got the team.
Yeah,
and look at him.
Yeah. Back to our phones. Who's a kind of a, no offense to him, but he's a little bit of a nuisance in our YouTube chat. Wants us to compile the top 10 teams in college, top 10 basketball programs in college basketball. Tennessee's one of them. Let me tell you who's not one of them. I don't think Kentucky is right now. I think Kentucky's in danger of I don't know. They're in danger of being in danger. I'll say that for them. Look, it's really hard to lose your way and lose your prominence in basketball. The way Nebraska lost their way in football, because football is just so many more moving parts. Football is like trying to turn a big, huge ocean liner around at sea. It's even hard to tell when you're doing it. And
you see where Kentucky did not have a player in the McDonald's All-American game for the first time since 2008 when they were coached by Billy Clyde Gillespie.
Kentucky blows. It's over for Kentucky in terms of being a major player. They can behave like they are. Matt Jones can, do his 5-minute post-game show, and they can act like they are. Their highlight of their season annually is going to be if and when Tennessee gets eliminated from the NCAA tournament next year, just like it was this year. A bunch of those mouth breathers, those uncouth illiterates jumped into our chat and mangled the language. And then we had a couple of them call the show. Matt told one of them, "You are a pathetic loser," in the middle of the night the other night. Matt said to the guy, "That's the best you can do? Pathetic. Pathetic." No, their highlight this year wasn't sweeping Tennessee. It was seeing the Vols get beat. It was seeing the Vols get beat. That was their highlight in basketball. Because they know all we have are regular season wins. They're going to go further than us in the playoffs. The playoffs. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tone. It's Andrew Merville.
Hey, Andrew. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. So about what Cinco said, about Barnes, I really do tend to agree. And if I was hiring a coach out of thin air, I don't think I'd go the archetype of Barnes, the super hard coaching, defensive minded. But he's just not the coach he's been for the last 30 years. In the last 3 years, he's really changed. I don't see him getting on guys nearly as much, and he's a little more flexible with letting these guys develop. Gillespie, when he started the year, he's kind of a cone on defense there for a while, and Barnes kind of persisted, and he ends up becoming a good defender and setting the record for steals in a season here. And if we were given this super money or super team money to Barnes of like 2021, I'd have some concerns. But the Barnes of the last 3 years, I'm all for it.
That's a very, 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 very well put thing. Sean, how do you respond to that from Andrew in Maryville? He hears you.
I totally agree with him. It's again, the question, so I'm not mischaracterized, is not whether I think he's a great coach. Not that I'm not glad he talked with Adam Sparks, is can he get this program to the Final Four? And but if you're for, I'm happy to get to the Elite Eight or like we've done the past 3 years. I think he's done a remarkable job, and even more so with this roster he had. He's incredible. But that wasn't the question that was asked. The question was asked was, can he get, given his style, given the way he does things, can he get Tennessee to a Final Four? I just question whether spending more money gets you better results, and I don't know.
Andrew?
Yeah. That's a good point, because the thing is, you can spend a lot of money, but you got to get the roster construction right.
That's right.
And, Michigan, they did go out and they added good players, but it's not like Cadeau or, the Morris Johnson guy. Those guys weren't averaging, 20 points where they came from. They went out and got pieces that fit.
Yeah.
And, they're going to have to really work hard to make sure they get guys that fit. And you got to kind of mix, pure shooting versus shot creation. And, if you're going to play with two bigs, do you necessarily want a scorer that's going to want to get to the rim because it might be too clogged up? He's right. And you talked about it yesterday, Tone. You go out and you get that money spent on you. You have to deliver. It's not a.
That's right.
It's not. The pressure's on.
That's right, and it's fun. I think he embraces it. I think they embrace it. I think it's a good thing. A little bit of pressure is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And and I was going to ask you this, Tone. I'm sure you're probably planning a blog for it at some point, but just in regards to these prices and these for these guys, I know you said Estrella, we're probably thinking 1.5, something like that. And then the Lundblade guy, probably $2 million. Do you know like what the going rate's going to be for some of the top guys? I know we're after Juke Harris, Rodney Rice, Wilkinson. Do you know like the range for those guys?
No, because I don't think the market's going to get set by. The market is going to be set by initially who pays what, because the goal, I've been told, the way this is going to work is we're in a dead period right now. You will not be allowed to have visitors till a week from Friday. So the goal between now and then is to be the first visitor. You want to get your guys that you want to target on campus that weekend and get them in the fold immediately. That's going to set the market. So I don't know if you could answer that. I could poke around on that tonight and get you some figures. Yeah. But I do know the expectation is, like, for an Estrella, $1.5 million is the expectation that he's going to command. Maybe he commands more than that. Maybe the market says, maybe somebody out there in the Northeast, maybe a Connecticut, says, hey, we'll pay you $2 million, man. We'll pay you $2.5 million. Well, there's your market.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I think you talked about it the other day about, do you want to pay up for some of these guys versus, it's the whole, is it cheaper to retain or is it cheaper to go get somebody? And
it's interesting.
You want to bet on your development or bet on your evaluations?
Yes, or bet on your health. Because I love Estrella. If Estrella is 100% healthy next year, I'd pay him $3 million.
Oh, yeah. I almost think you almost have to go into next year looking at, I don't want to say as an accessory, but you might have to almost look at Estrella as kind of a luxury piece that, like, hey, if he's healthy, it's great, but we might need to build the team as if he's not here.
You can't spend $2 million on a luxury piece or $1.5 million. Andrew, thank you, man. Good talking to you. We'll get some more calls in our overtime segment. Andrew is always a thoughtful, excellent caller. I just think that I just think that this thing is going to be well worth documenting. We'll have you. William Pattison's going to have you. He's got the playbook up next. We sit here and prattle on for a few minutes. Peace.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville and W289CU Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
Tony B back with you. Cinco, this Grenlinger guy, his brother just committed, right, to the Vols? Is that what you were telling me?
That's what I understand. Yeah. If I have my story straight, he's a kid that reclassified to try to get up a year early. I think a lot of kids are trying that. Some connection to some collective bargaining going on with Major League Baseball coming up, perhaps. And there's a thought that the draft status may change. And so, but yeah, he's supposed to be a different player than his brother, a pitcher outfielder, but highly, highly rated. And I got a question for you. When does that kid break the everyday SEC lineup? I mean, it's a limited sample size, but every time I look up, the kid's doing something with the bat.
Let's put it this way. He played for me this weekend against LSU. Now, I don't know how you're going to alter, what you're going to do. I'm going to bring it up with Matt Diskin tomorrow. But I need guys who can make solid contact against Southeastern Conference pitching. And this kid has proving that he can hit it. I don't know.
Well, not only that, he's coming off the bench cold at doing it.
Yeah.
Almost
That's
time
exactly
and time again.
right.
The question is, who do you take out of line? That's not my priority. I don't want to take kids out of lineups or anything like that.
Yes.
But I'm sitting here watching kids in their second years that are struggling to hit 200, and we keep waiting for the light to come on.
Yes.
When I'm watching a kid that was, easily draftable, and we were lucky to get him. I think he was going to go to Mississippi State. And then all of a sudden, every time he gets in the batter's box, he's delivering. What do you have this advantage? 5 RBIs with 3 for 4, 5 RBIs once Lawless got hurt?
I mean, and again,
I'm going to ride that a little bit.
I'm going to ride it. And again, Vanderbilt, No, probably not. They didn't have their frontline guys he was facing. Okay, fine. As the great Berkey said yesterday, in his mind, calling that game, Vanderbilt was trying to concede Sunday's game to Tennessee, and Tennessee couldn't take it from them. Because you got guys in the lineup striking out, popping out, just against tomato can pitching. And so, if I got an opportunity to get this guy on the field, hell, put him at second base, Cinco. It couldn't be worse than what they're doing. And I don't even know if he's ever played second base. But we'll go.
Well, I don't know where you put him on the field, but I want him in the batter's box.
Yes. I'm going to do a thing tomorrow for the blog. Back to the Phones had a good idea. Basketball top jobs right now. I'm being serious. I don't know that Kentucky's a top job right now in the sport. Duke is a top job in the sport. UConn's a top job in the sport. Kansas is a top job in the sport. Michigan is probably a top job in the sport. Tennessee's a top job in the sport. It's a top 10 job in the sport. There might be a little too much pressure in that Kentucky deal. Might be a little too toxic. I mean, they have money. But man, the expectations. Listen, this job opens here. There will be a fight for guys that want this job. A fight. Fist fights. They will be camped outside. Why? Incredible fan base. Never drank from the chalice. Everybody wants to be the first coach to do that. Incredible NIL budget. Amazing place to live. Amazing place to live. And the fifth thing, an engine that is really flying right now. It's a great basketball job. A great basketball job. And here's a riddle for Kentucky fans. I promise you, riddle this to me, Kentucky fan. Take this cut, stick it online, and deal with it. From a guy who's wearing a toboggan on the 1st of April, on a warm spring day. We ain't hiring Mark Pope for our job. Let me do this again. We're not going to hire Mark Pope for our basketball job. Okay? Or a reasonable facsimile thereof. Okay? We're not going to hire some joke like Pope on a rope. Okay? So deal with it. Deal with it. We will have a who's who list of candidates that want this job. Okay? So deal with it. Let's go back to our phones. You people are Alabama football. You're what we like to call in the trade yesterday's news. I'm going to put this in terms you can understand geographically, right there in your little Midwestern southern town you're in. Vol basketball right now is akin to Indiana football, big boy. We're a rocket ship. Watch it. Watch it. Brian, you think we're going to hire Mark Pope when this job opens?
Do you think the Arkansas job is now better with Calipari? Has he made that a top 10-ish type job? Speaking of Kentucky. As they flounder.
Back to the phones we go. Yeah,
I'd say yes.
How's that playing? How's running Cal out of there playing for them? I mean, this Pope guy, he's a nice story, and he loves his job, and he's at his alma mater, but geez Louise, I mean, is that what you do when you're a serious program?
BYU upgraded.
Literally, the guy's resume is he's never won a tournament game before he got there. So next level. Hello and welcome in. Back to the phones you go.
How are my friends, compatriots doing?
There he is.
Tony, I kind of have trouble, I guess, with the money flow issue we're having.
Well, we're old people, man. I don't. I've embraced it.
Well, I'm not against it. Mm-hmm. I'm just I'm confused about how it works because in my understanding,
mm-hmm.
Tony Vitello went out and got millions of dollars from a booster.
Mm-hmm.
Who I think has a building named after him. And it was supposed to go to baseball.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't part of that $20.5 million.
No.
This is from a booster.
This is two different things.
And it was distributed among other athletic sports.
Well, two different things, W. Lynn. You got two different conversations there. And we were talking with Adam Sparks about this in the first hour, and he did a nice job of explaining it. There's the revenue share break piece, and then there's the what can you work the boosters for piece. Danny White does not have ultimate veto power over the what can you work boosters for piece. Tony got his allocation from the university, in his eyes, cut for women's basketball, and he couldn't get over it.
That was the $20.5 million, though.
Correct. So what Tony was upset about, really, Tony shouldn't have been worrying about that because he could always raise more money. But Tony's a guy that wanted Alberto Ozuna on a team that had hit like 900 home runs already last year. Tony fueled himself on slights. And Danny White had zero relationship with Tony because Danny White didn't have a relationship with anybody but Kim Caldwell. It's just the nature of Danny White.
Well, what about that booster I said that would have been NIL booster money?
Again, W. Lynn, we're having two different conversations. Tony's slight was that they cut his money. Tony was free to go last year and make deals with boosters off to the side and sign kids to contract. That's how Tony always did things. He didn't just spend... In other words, he didn't just spend the allocated money that Tennessee gives him. He spent more money.
I know that.
Yeah.
But this was non-allocated booster money. You don't think he was upset about that not being all going to baseball?
I don't know how. Look, I'm just telling you what he conveyed to me that he was upset about.
That might have been the final straw. Because the other thing that's I would have been upset about if I was a coach. We're trying to renovate a stadium. It's like we're trying to build the pyramids of Giza for decades. It takes his entire coaching career to get a stadium right, and poof, the Magic Dragon shows up, and we have a downtown stadium in 1 year. That would irk me if I was a UT baseball coach.
I think there was more to that, though, because I do think there were some site issues in terms of in all fairness to Danny White, there were some power issues. There were some things they ran into. Not that I'm here to defend Danny White, but just calling it both ways. Danny does not visit with his coaches. He does not have a relationship with his coaches, essentially, the way an AD should, and he even admitted that. But that one there, I don't blame on Danny White. That was really a site issue, what slowed that thing down. And the stadium looks awesome, by the way. So I can't blame him for that.
Well, I know that, but for God's sake, a few electrical things under the ground.
Lynn, it was way worse than that. It was a lot, and Tony was frustrated by it, but there was nothing. Danny White can't move earth. There was nothing he could do about it.
Well, I know, but for 7 years, I mean, give me a break. And, Danny White, if he doesn't talk to the coaches, then he should be going to the boosters and getting money. I mein, Heupel's got a deal with Sean, might know this better, counting players, coaches, managers. He's dealing with 200 and some people. Barnes is dealing with 30 players and all.
Yeah.
Shouldn't the AD be going to the boosters to get at least football money?
No, a head football coach should be doing that. The good ones do. You got to, man.
You're telling Saban, I guarantee you didn't have to talk to that many boosters.
That's why he got out. He was going to have to.
Yeah.
He was going to have to.
So we don't really have the one billionaire like Texas Tech or whatever. Do we have 500 millionaires that could donate $100 million a year?
How do we not have a billionaire? The Haslams are billionaires. Charlie Ergen's a
billionaire.
billionaire.
I know. I'm not really counting them right this minute.
Really? No, they're way heavily involved in it. We have 3 or 4 people that meet that description.
Okay, well, money should be no object, but I'm with Sean. You got to have coaching. But this $20.5 million, to me, that's gas money. That ought to be divided among every scholar athlete from the last rower on the roster to the 105th football player.
The $20.5 million?
Give them $400 or $500 a week spending money plus full scholarship. The money that counts to win championships has got to come from the boosters, NIL.
Mm-hmm.
We're arguing over peanuts with that $20.5 million in my book.
Well,
that should go to all the scholar athletes.
They're not going to do that, but obviously, W. Lynn, there's a lot more to the puzzle when putting a competitive football roster together. Is probably in the when I mean competitive, I mean you're trying to win the world championship. You're going to spend north of $35 million to $40 million right now.
Yeah, and if you spend $15 million for basketball and $10 million for that's way over that 20.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe this, but this is what other recruits are going to tell people we're going after. Whether they're in their portal or not. We'll give you $1 million, whatever sport. Recruit says, well, Tennessee will give me $1.5 million.
Yep.
The school bursts out laughing. Oh, yeah, you might get it in 6 to 9 months after they go through the Money Changers Commission. That's called the check in the mail. We'll give it to you right now. So we're still having to go through that, aren't we? The Money Changers?
Yeah, but there's a misnomer out there that Danny White controls that money. He doesn't. A lot of this is done away from the athletic directors at these schools. In fact, if the athletic directors had their way, it would all be in-house, but it can't be in-house because then it turns into pay-for-play. And the NCAA doesn't want to admit that it's pay-for-play. That's the reason that the kid at Duke broke his 2-year contract and is now the quarterback at Miami. The court said, wait a second, this isn't a pay-for-play. So
I realize that, but we're going by the exact letter of the law.
Right.
And the commission might take 6 to 9 months to rule on something.
No, the commission doesn't matter. The commission's already complaining that these people are totally ignoring all the rules, and they have been for the past several weeks, and guess what? They're all ignoring the rules. So the commission...
And the commission's not going to try to do something silly about it.
There's nothing they can do about it. They either sit there, shut up, and collect their money for doing basically nothing.
Nothing.
Or they make a big stink about it and get run over and get put out of business. What would you do, W. Lynn?
I'd sit there and do nothing.
Exactly. And that's what they're doing. They're getting.
Well, I'm glad
overrun.
to hear that.
Yeah, they're getting overrun. See, that's my whole thing about Danny White. In one hand, is saying, "Well, football-wise, we're still on probation." Okay, fine, Danny. But our basketball program is getting ready to go off in the transfer portal. Now, something maybe it's football that's still on maybe that's what we're doing. Maybe it's football that's still on probation. Maybe I just answered my question.
Double secret probation.
Yeah, it's so silly.
It really is. I mean, I just worry we're getting, I know Awaka's not Magic Johnson, but the fact that we couldn't keep him for a few $100,000 more just is outrageous.
Yep.
And we got to be able to have the money to get who we got to get, and, money should be no object.
It's kind of amazing, isn't it?
Oh, it's definitely amazing.
And W. Lim, what do we make of this mess that's the Lady Vols right now? The Paw Paws just went into the portal. The Paw Paw twins. Her first recruits, as Ken Boyd said. Her first big-time shot across the bow. Of course, they were recruited by this guy that just left yesterday for LSU, who was supposed to be the problem.
Twin. Yeah,
I call them the Paw Paws. What about
Paw Paw? Well, it's terrible because I thought when April Fool's Day hit, which is today, I thought there was something in the contract or something that could she be terminated tomorrow?
Everybody's saying that April 1st, the buyout, Danny White is not going to fire her. Danny White's literally telling people behind the scenes that she got undermined and literally is repeating that to people, which I think is one of the greatest things ever. I love that. I want you to know I love that you would repeat that you hired a coach that would let a assistant coach hijack her program for a year, run the thing into the ground to the point where I don't know, how many games in a row did they lose, W. Lynn? Like 10? Brian, what's the number?
About 8 at least.
No, it's more than that. Brian, what was the number at the end of the year?
It was 8 games in a row, I think.
Thank you, W. Lynn. It was 8. It felt like 20. The only
assistant coach that left, I saw him speak at the Tip-Off Club last year.
Yes. What do you think of him?
He was a great class act. There's no way that guy was doing anything crooked.
They were going to smear the guy. God, he got hired by Madge in like 5 minutes. Madge hired him. He wasn't on the market. Madge hired him in 5 minutes. I mean,
he is a rags to riches guy that really appreciates where he was, and they do. Is there any way we can get Tim Irwin and Charles Davis over there like his co-athletic directors?
I would hire Tim Irwin tomorrow. What a man of valor, and he's a fellow musician, one of the Chillbillies. Yeah. Thank you, my brother. You're a good man. I would put Tim Irwin in the suit tomorrow.
I want to say something about the stadium that got erected within a year and the campus stadium did not.
Yes, Brian.
It took so long. The campus stadium had to go through, because it's on a state land grant property.
That's right.
It had to go through Nashville.
Yes.
Whereas the downtown stadium didn't.
That's right.
Have to do anything like that. So I think that's why it took longer.
It's called private and public, Brian. It's 2 different things. You're exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right. And look, people, you know me. I'll crack on Danny White when it counts, and can't blame everything on the guy. And the stadium's great. The stadium is great.
It's almost luxurious.
Zach Maniac.
Compared to what it used to be.
Can Irwin play a half-diminished chord? I don't know, but I like to play music with him. Their music's fun. I don't understand Danny keeping her for a year, bro. Are you surprised by it, knowing everything we know? What a train wreck it is?
He just doesn't want to admit that he was wrong and made a bad hire.
Odd.
I think that's it.
It's just so
I don't think he wanted to make a change with Kelly Jolly, but he was sort of pulled in that direction. And this is his hire. This is on him. So he doesn't want to do that in 2 years, have to go look for another women's basketball coach.
I mean, the guy literally didn't even turn his keys in as an apartment he was living in, and he was already hired by LSU, and the Lady Vols were blaming him and saying they parted ways. They didn't part ways with him. Come on now. Come on now.
I'm sure he knew weeks ago that he was going to have to get a new job, and he had something lined up with LSU.
Of course he did.
Probably several weeks ago, probably a month ago or more.
Brian. And then they wanted to put out that we parted ways, or he was let go. Okay, yeah, he was let go. Sure he was. And you were undermined. Sure you were. You were undermined. I mean, I've seen coaches around here lose their teams before and everybody transfers. How about you? Oh, that's right. I've never seen that. And here's my thing. I don't even watch women's basketball for this year. I didn't care about it. But I got time for a train wreck. I say it honestly right on the air. I make no bones about it. If you're going to be a train wreck, I'm going to pay attention to it. And her next year, I will watch that. Here's what they're going to do next year. They're going to recruit. This is what I think she's going to do. She's going to recruit lesser talented players, like 3-star players, that she can beat and whip and practice and do whatever they do, and play 94-foot basketball and go 8-8 in the league, maybe, if she's lucky. But they're going to warp down their schedule so they can get some more wins so she can get in the tournament and get smoked in the first or second round. That's what's going to happen. So, and there you go. That's what's, as we say in the trade, that's what's finna happen. But I love the spin that I had a coach undermine me. Oh, okay. As I was laughing with a former Pat Summit player about this, and I said, "What do you think Pat would do?" Are you kidding? The minute Pat Summit thought that, the minute that person would be called into her office and literally would be shown the door with, I was told, like with guards, basically. Get this person out of here. But it's pretty next level. To the phones we go.
But that would never happen with Pat Summit. Nobody would do that to her, just like nobody did it this time.
And by the way, they're saying that the Awaka is an example of a guy that, Barnes chased out of here. They begged him to stay. If you remember, the other kid went to Arkansas, the other big kid. Brian, who was that? The other big kid?
That was Jonas Adu. Or Adu.
Tennessee was absolutely fine with keeping Awaka around. Arizona bought him for big money. Now, Tennessee today, they probably keep him there. Is probably, yeah. James, you're right. I am enamored with I'm fascinated by the Kim Caldwell situation. I'll be honest with you. I'm not enamored, but I'm fascinated with it. And I openly admit that. I got time for a train wreck, man. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. I'm fascinated with it. I will openly admit that. So Jonas Adu leaves, where he would go to average like 3-3 at Arkansas, but he got paid big money. Tobe Awaka, they love him. Really tough guy, really surprised them. Tony Basilio, sorry for trolling this week, but why won't boosters demand White to fire her? People don't care. It's women's basketball. If this happened on the men's side, he'd fire her. If enough money people that really cared about it, Timothy, let's put it this way. If Mr. Haslam picked the phone up and called and said, why is she still there? She'd be fired this afternoon. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And that's the truth. I keep it real. Just like they're not going to hire a man to coach women's basketball here. Just like Bino and I were keeping that real the other day. You know? And Zach, Toby Awaka's coming off the bench at Arizona. Why? Because they went out and recruited over him. But you know what he is? He's a very good player for him, Brian. He's playing very good basketball for them, isn't he, Bri? Toby Awaka. He's a key player for them.
Well, he's found a role, and he's bought in, and that's what you have to have is guys that – Michigan had kids that were bought in, and they had a diminished role. So they bought in and look at them. Both of them are the two best teams in the country.
James Dean asks, Tony, how much money did they –
It's a shame that –
Yeah.
What's a shame is they had to placate to Duke.
Yeah.
Those two teams should have been on opposite sides of the bracket, but they had to placate to Duke.
James asks, how much money did they spend on their roster this year in women's basketball? My figure I hear is around $3 million, which is top 5 in the sport. Janoy, can we get an SEC AD rankings? I don't know anything about other SEC other ADs in the SEC to rank them. I have no idea. I can tell you this, though, my friend, and then we'll go back to our phones. My friends at VIP Play, they're Brian, is there an NIT final tonight, or is that tomorrow night? Stephen
That would be tomorrow night.
Is Stephen F. Pearl in it?
The semifinals. Yeah, they're playing, I think, Illinois State.
You can get some action on that. Tennessee LSU, you can get action on that. My Flyers and the Dread Wings, who are heading in the wrong direction, you can get action on that. There's a full slate in the NBA, NHL. There's Major League Baseball full slate there. Congratulations to Matt Painter. I texted his father today. Congratulations, Peter Painter, who lives in Nashville part-time. But he's the Phillies' top prospect pitcher. He won last night. Peter Painter is extremely impressed with Tennessee baseball and wants to come up here and see a series. And I told him, come on out, man. We'll roll out the red carpet for you. He wants to see the new stadium. Go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus. $20 bet, you get $100 in bonus bets instantly. Promo code and the phrase that pays is TN Tony. And I'm fired up, folks, and prepared for you. 200 leagues live always. All the bet types you want are there. Props, options, you got it. VIP was where everybody gets treated like a VIP. And if you have a gambling problem, 800-889-9789, 21 and over, located in the state of Tennessee to place a bet. By the way, shout out and prayers up for Tiger Woods as he enters himself into a rehab. Good for him. Good for him. Hope it works. Hope it works, and I hope that he finds what he's looking for, as U2 once said. I think it's sad, and let's go to the phones here. I think it's sad when a man of his means and accomplishments obviously is having trouble finding fulfillment elsewhere when he can't just shut it off. He's grinding his body into the ground, obviously. He should take the next, he's 50 years old, the next whatever it is, 35, 40 years of life, whatever he's blessed with, and be the Arnold Palmer like he was in my generation of this generation, where people look at him and go, God, that's Tiger Woods over there, and grow the game. The TGL thing's a great idea that they've hit on, and I love him from that perspective. There will never be another Tiger Woods. Back to the phones we go. Hello and welcome in. I've never heard a crowd respond to somebody the way when Laura and I were at Augusta when they introduced Tiger Woods. The roar of that crowd when he hits that golf ball, never, ever, 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 ever seen a crowd respond to an athlete like him. Hi, and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tona, Bobby, this is not the reason for my call, but I actually went to the Monday practice round in 19 when he went the last time he won at the Masters. Dude, when he steps on a golf course, that's only the second time I experienced him on a golf course, even in a practice round. Freaking electric factory. Like, people are just so locked in. It's pretty awesome to watch.
Yep.
He was playing with Freddie Boom Boom and Justin Thomas, and they were playing like 10,000 a hole, just goofing off. How fun would that be?
Wow.
It is sad to see a man of his stature and ilk not be able to satisfy whatever his heart's desire is, though. It's pretty sad to watch.
Yep.
So you've been asking some really awesome questions today about football stuff and the basketball stuff. The Kimmy Cat fight, as I call her, stuff, man. Like, why start a tertiary slander campaign on that assistant?
It's pretty
like,
next
this
level.
is just nonsensical in a sport no one gives a shit about. Excuse my French.
It's pretty next level.
Why do that? It's so dumb. I'm going to be quick, Tone. I'm glad to see for the Elander needs to be in the dugout, people. I'm glad to see him actually listen and do that. I was not necessarily one of those people, but it's what we're used to around here, and maybe it works out. It seemed to put some more runs on the board last night. Prayers up for Stone Wallace. That is a nasty, nasty injury. And as far as the basketball team is concerned, just bring me all the shooters. Like, I don't even want to play defense anymore. I know they will under Rick Barnes, but like, I just want to score 100 points a game. But I want to be super fun to watch.
Let's play 5 out, man. Let's really.
Why not?
Let's play 5. Let's just put everybody out there and play 5 out and shoot 45 threes a game.
Yeah. Tony, thanks, man. Have a blessed Easter.
Thank you, babe. Yeah, you too. James Daniel asked, where'd Cinco go? I don't know. He just kind of left. Brad, where did Cinco go?
He didn't tell me. I guess he was checking a patient, maybe.
No.
Here's an unpopular take. The other majors are more watchable than the Masters is for me. The East Lake and FedEx Memphis tournaments are more watchable because the Masters just take so long. They've lengthened the course. It's beautiful, but it just takes so long to watch. It just seems like it's in slow motion.
It's that way on purpose, Brian.
Maybe it's just me.
No, you're just stuck in time.
Yeah.
You go down there, and you're stuck in time, and you got Jim Nantz doing this. Is my favorite thing about the Masters.
Roberto, with a really good call.
Why'd I open my mouth?
It's a tradition, unlike any other.
Literally talks like he's at a
funeral parlor.
Thought he retired.
He retired from doing college basketball, but not golf. And so you will hear him say, the Masters, a tradition unlike any other. And he's really a metrosexual, and he gets on my nerves. So we go back to the phones.
Bino, do you like that? Bino likes that. Hello and welcome in.
Hello, Tony.
There he is, fresh off his Sunday morning phone call to me. Billy, how we doing?
I'm doing okay, buddy. I'll tell you what, I'd like to give a message to both Boyd and Plowman. Start playing housekeeper. Get rid of White, get rid of Caldwell, and get rid of that new head baseball coach. And I know I'm going to get a disagreement. I know you're going to agree with me on those two things, but the head baseball coach, you're not going to agree with me on that.
Danny White's a great revenue guy. They're never getting rid of him. Kim Caldwell's a mess. They need to cut bait with her. And Josh Elander is going to be a great program guy who's going to build a great program here, but he's not off to a very good start here.
So,
and by the way, Tony's Pizza Rat over on YouTube is asking how Jesse's doing.
Jesse's doing fine. You know, I hated that one of his co-workers' alma mater lost to St. John's, and that happens to be Austin Olnick. He's a University of Kansas alum. He's the chief meteorologist over there at Channel 12.
Old Pete Owens up at Dollyweird is a big Kansas fan, too. They take it seriously there, Billy.
Yeah, they do. Oh, I'll tell you, Jesse was sort of teasing Olnick. He called the Kansas Jayhawks the Kansas City Jayhawks.
Who did?
Jesse.
Does he not?
Do they play the state of Atlanta?
Does he not?
Are they an opponent?
Does he not follow sports, Billy?
Yeah, he follows sports. He's a big Vol fan.
The Kansas City
he's a
Jayhawks.
UCK alum.
The Kansas City Jayhawks, Bill. Have you taken this kid under wings like I have with Joshy boy?
How about the New York City Yankees?
Yeah. Or the Bronx Yankees.
Hey, Bill, since last time we've talked on the air, how many times have you watched Sisters? Because I hear something on in the background. Is that Sisters?
Well, I'm watching The Real Housewives in New Jersey on Peacock.
Is Teresa Goodice on that?
Yeah, Teresa Giudice is on that. And, you know, when I talked to Polish Joe, he said, when are you going to send me a picture of you with Teresa Giudice? Only thing I get out of him, Tony, is a lot of hot air.
I think, didn't he
and that's a fact with my hand up.
Didn't he meet her in South Florida or something? Didn't I see a photo?
Yeah.
Was that Teresa Goodice he was with?
Yeah. That's what he told me.
Yeah, I think that was. He sent us a photo.
He didn't send me one.
Brian, do you find her attractive? Teresa Goodice.
I don't even know who she is.
Picture a woman from New Jersey with about 30 pounds
I'd rather not.
With about 30 pounds of makeup on her face, false eyelashes that stick out about 14 inches, and fake hair. With fake...
Not exactly aroused by
that.
that.
She loves to work on weights. She's a weightlifter. And she got in trouble with the law for money laundering and got sent to prison.
Bill, why did you feel the need the other day to do your Karen Weekly imitation in my and where did that come from? Where did your inspiration for the Karen Weekly voice come from, Bill?
It came mostly from me.
You inspired yourself?
You know, I'm still not a big Karen Weekly fan like John Adams is.
Because there are a bunch of new listeners that have just found the show, Bill. Would you tell them what your weekly imitation is, Bill?
Yeah, sure.
Hit it.
And I know you're going to cut me off.
I don't know about that. There's not. Brian, do you think there's a chance he gets to stay after he does it? Brian?
No comment.
Somebody just said the Lady Vols have no roster left. No kidding. They're all going into the portal. We've been telling you that for 2 weeks. There's not going to be any players left. Bill, are you available to be a Kim Caldwell assistant if she called you? Would you serve under her?
There ain't no way in hell that I would serve her. And that's a fact. That's fact when I'm telling you with my hand up.
All right, Bill, in your humble opinion, on the way out, I want to hear your... No, I don't want to hear it, do I, Bri? Somebody just said your calls are like...
I think it's somebody's lunch hour, so maybe we shouldn't.
It's like Weekly's coaching. Somebody just compared you to Weekly's coaching. Go ahead, Billy. Break it for us. There's a lot of people that haven't heard it.
Okay.
That's the dumbest thing in the world. Oh. He just kept doing it over and over again, Brian. Brian, if you weren't working doing this, would you tune this thing in? Tell the truth.
I wouldn't still be tuned in. I would have tuned in, but I probably wouldn't still be tuned in. After about 2 or 3 good callers, I probably would tune out because I'm afraid that it wouldn't get, or it would probably get a lot worse. And it has.
Is Kimmy on Titans Bills Woman of Color Mount Rushmore? I doubt that. Back to the phones we go. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
Gino Muppet.
Titans Bill or that previous call?
I think that's a sign. Maybe we should close it out.
Titans Bill or that previous call, Brian? Where are you?
I think that's a wrap.
Hi, welcome in. You're on the air.
I was going to say that's 4 in a row for Brian. I'm pretty sure he's totally checked out now, man.
Lee, what's up, man?
Not a lot, man. Enjoying the day.
Isn't it nice?
Watching, like, sitting outside watching, like, 8 baseball games Wednesday afternoon. So life could be much worse.
Getaway day, my brother. Getaway day, my brother. Getaway day.
There's some good baseball today. A lot of aces going. Yeah, some good games going on.
Nice.
Phillies are going on right now, too.
How my Sillies doing?
It's 1-1 in the third, I think.
Nice. Something to listen to.
Yeah. So just a couple of things. Like, all right, on the whole roster construction thing, like, I keep hearing people talk about this. Like, it's this is like real simple thing. You make out a list. Okay, this is the players you're going to get. You just go out, you sign them, you bring them in. They come in, like, they don't get hurt, and they're going to produce up to like a certain level, and that's just how you win. You're going to make the Final Four. It's just that easy. Just snap your fingers, right? I don't really think that's how it works, right? I mean, you have to have a very specific plan when doing this, I think. Like, and you've got to stick to it.
Yep.
Whether or not the plan is good or not, like, I think you can't waver from it. Like, you've got to believe in what you're doing. Going out there and signing the guys, you believe this is it. And I talked with you about this a couple of weeks ago with Dusty May. He operates. It's very specific the way he's going after these guys. I mean, his rosters are very similar the last couple of years. Like, he had Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf last year. The bigs he's got this year with Yaxel, Amaris Johnson, and Mara. Like, has to have 2 bigs on the court, but they can't be like 2 statues that just camp out in the lane. Like, these guys have to be versatile. They've got to be excellent passers. They've got to be able to have some handles. Like, they've got to be able to handle the ball some. And the rest of his roster is kind of like that too. It is the positionless basketball stuff. Like, you can't just pigeonhole guys into this is going to be my point guard, this is my 2 guard, this is my 3, my 4. Because what happens when you do that and you bring one of those guys in and it doesn't work or he gets injured, then you have a major hole on your roster. You know? But look, Byington's done a really good job of this at Vandy. He hasn't had the bigs he's needed, but he's done a good job of getting versatile guys on his roster that can all handle the ball. They can all shoot a little bit. you know? And I don't know. However we go about this, I hope it's the right approach and they're not just, okay, this guy's going to be a point guard. This is the 2 guard we want. You know, I would like to see them go after some guys with some versatility that can do different things.
I think, Lee, you're going to get your wish.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've heard a lot of the same guys you. I mean, I like the direction I think they're going in. So, I mean, you never know. Like, a lot of teams spend a lot of money every year, and it never really works out. But, you know, we'll see. The other thing I did want to mention, too, is, look, I would like to see the team obviously focus a little bit more on offense like everybody else. That being said, like, I don't think you can't just completely, like, act like defense doesn't matter. Like, you know who the number 1 and number 2 teams are in overall defensive efficiency right now? It's Michigan and Arizona. Like, it matters. Like, you have to be able to get stops. You know, like, I'm about offense, but I ain't about going down the route and turning this thing into like a juvenile operation like that.
No, and he's not going to do that either. The thought is, though, because I think they're in great shape with that Lumblade guy, the thought is we get him, and then we build from there, because he gives us the credibility to go get a solid point guard to pair with him. And he doesn't have to be a tremendous defender, because if he can make, if they can get a high volume of threes up out of him, and he can make them at between 48, which he did when, or 48 point something, which he did when it was a lesser volume, and 43. If he can give you somewhere in the middle at a high volume, shit, that'll play all day at this level. And they love his release. They say he can get the release off coming off the school bus.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have the kid. I mean, I do have a little bit of worry, only because we went after the kid from Belmont that was with Gillespie 2 years ago. He went to UNC and couldn't play at UNC, but he went to Minnesota last year. He was really good.
Yes.
Part of me feels like going after like the high percentage 3-point shooters is a little bit of a year to year thing. Like, it's not necessarily a given they're going to walk in and just start off where they left off at the school they were before. But I mean, I think you have to go get them anyway. I mean, you have to take your chance on it. I mean, you know, the Estrella and Phillips thing is what I'm really curious about. Like, I don't really honestly care what they do with Berg and Boswell, to be honest.
Right.
But the Estrella and Phillips thing, I think, is really interesting because I was a huge fan of those guys when they got here on campus. I think they're extremely talented and like crazy athletic, but the injuries have diminished them. And I just don't think you're getting the production that you're going to need to like justify paying them what they're probably going to get on the open market. To some point, and I hate it, I think you almost have to let them walk because there's going to be teams that are probably going to overpay for those guys. And
there will be teams. Yes. If those two guys are available, there will be teams that'll pay for him because there's a premium on those guys. The thing is, though, Lee, what if this kid Estrella gets a healthy offseason and he's able to build up his body a little bit because he hadn't really had a good summer. He hadn't had a good run at one of these seasons. But he's able to do that, and then he's kind of is able to stay upright for most of the year next year. I mean, that's money well spent because he's a hell of a player.
I agree. I feel absolutely sick if I let him walk and he goes somewhere else and stays healthy and has an awesome year. It would make me sick to my stomach.
He's going to go right to UConn, Lee. That's exactly the type of big they would love him at UConn.
Yeah. Part of me also thinks this is also a business now. Like, you've got to put an evaluation, like, as far as a number on these guys, and you need to stick to it. Like, I get that reasoning as well. But, yeah, like I said, that's the part. I'm more intrigued with those two guys and what we do with them, really, than the guards, like Berg and Boswell. Like, I just think they are what they are. You know, they're guys we had to play out of necessity. Look, the whole Berg thing, the kid obviously had major liabilities and issues. But he was at least athletic enough to get out there on the floor at times and not be a total turnstile on defense. He gave you a little bit of something on the ball where you could at least try to run Gillespie off ball some, which I don't think you were getting from the Henderson kid.
Not right.
But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't really, I don't want to say I don't care, but I'm much more interested in what happens with Estrella and Phillips. But
going to be interesting. Hey, and those two guys really speak to the conundrum you're in when you're at this time of the year and you're trying to figure out as staff We got this chunk of change. How are we going to spend it, and how much are we willing to spend on these two guys? They're having the same conversation about Kerry internally. A couple weeks ago, they were ready to move on from Kerry. Then he flashes in the tournament. And now I think the conversation with him that they're having is, will you take less money and will you lose weight? And if you really want to be a part of this that badly, then lose weight and bring him back.
Yeah, if the answer is yes and yes, then yeah, you can bring him back and he can play a role for sure. I think he got stuck playing playing more minutes than I think they thought when they brought him in.
Yes.
You know, with JP not being totally healthy and Phillips going down, I think he got stuck playing a lot more than they probably wanted him to. And I guess it also depends on what other guys out there in the portal do you think you got a legit shot at too, that are improvements over all those guys. So, which, you know, kind of a guessing game at this point. I mean, this portal stuff. I mean, I had to turn my notifications off the other day when all the portal stuff started.
Yes.
People started officially entering the portal, so it's too much to try to keep.
Oh, no. Yeah. And we're not going to know, because once the dead period ends next Friday, because all these kids are going to go into the portal, but you're still not going to be able to contact them. Now, when they go in, you're going to see teams linked to them. So-and-so's linked to this team, so-and-so's, you know. But you got to make it at least look good for TV, or you've just totally tampered with somebody. So you got to get them on your campus. Right. You know what I mean, Lee? Because it's going to be all big dog and pony show next week.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the usual teams, like the teams are going to go after it. Like Michigan, they're going to go after it again.
Sure, they are.
The same teams are going to be.
UConn's going to go after it, and Tennessee's going to get right in the middle of it this year with a high budget. And I'm for it, Lee. I'm for that.
Yeah, hey, look, you want to make the decision to swim with the Sharks? Let's go. Like, let's rock and roll, baby. I'm ready to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We got into the football playoff and decided not to swim with the Sharks, Lee, for some reason.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand that. I'll never understand that. But thank you, Lee.
Look, if I applaud Barnes for going down this road. I mean, he could easily stay status quo and be like, hey, look, I'm making Elite Eight. Like, we're just going to do what we want to do. But it doesn't sound like he's satisfied, so I'm good with it.
Thank you, my man. Good talking to you.
See you soon.
Brian, what's your vote? Another call or call it a day? Your vote, Brian.
Well, it doesn't matter if I say call it a day because you're going to take the call anyway, so. You're going to do the opposite.
Pruitt's Net Gator. I want Tony to tell us who this elite point guard is. Hey, Net Gator. Net Gator. I'm not going to lose my sources, man. He who kisses and tells will only kiss one time. I don't kiss and tell, bro. I don't kiss and tell. Why would I do that? If I was going to do that, I'd have done it by now. Why would I do that? You're just going to have to trust me that they're got a plan. And if you don't, that's fine. I mean, it's a free country. Think what you want to think. I'm not here to. But this moron yesterday, who was like, well, yeah, blah blah blah. This assistant coach, he was let go, and then when he went to LSU, he's like, well, you're just a rumor monger. After the fact, I'm like, well, dude, that ain't gonna work. I mean, that doesn't flush around here, brah. I mean, believe what you want to believe, but you can't come back after the fact when you're proven wrong and go, well, I mean, you take your business down a road. Bino, do you, Brian, did you have fun today on a program? And what did you think of Adam Sparks breaking it down scientifically today, Brian?
I liked hearing Adam come on. I think he is a good way to kill an hour. And then a good way. Or it's a good way to give life to an hour.
Yep. I want to shout you out. Brian Hartman's done an exemplary job. Matt Dixon does a tremendous job. Watson Brown will be with us tomorrow. The great Ron Higgins will be with us tomorrow. His take on LSU would be fun. If you were having a party, at LSU for the coaches they have there, how big of a space would you need to fit all those egos in one room? 1 room. 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 How big of an ego would you need to fit them all in one room, Bri?
Would they invite John Adams to that party?
John Adams would pay to be at that party. Will C. Wade, Kim Maud Mulkey, Maud, and then there's Maud, and then there's Maud, and then there's Maud, and then there's Maud. But yeah, you got Maud over there. The football coach is a freak.
Imagine if Ed Orgeron were on his staff.
Zach said a great line, Bri. You'd need a C-shaped room.
There you go.
That is so stupid. When they show that Will Wade guy and he's over on the sidelines and he's doing this, look, I see if I can stand up and do the Will Wade. I'm going to try to do the Will Wade. I'm going to do my Will Wade imitation here. See if I can get back far enough. Okay. Bri, have you ever seen the Will Wade? You need to go look at us on YouTube right now. This is a new dance. Let's do the Wade. Let's do the Wade, Bri. Do the Wade. You know the wave, Bri? I'm doing the Wade. I'm back here doing the Wade. There's the wave, and then there's the Wade.
I'd say it's time to wave goodbye.
Doing the Wade. I mean, I am such a moron. I'm such a moron. I mean,
Laura's on her way down right now.
I am such a dumb person. Oh, my gosh. The Wade, man. Do the Wade. Appreciate you. Love you. Peace. GBO. You put your left hip in, you put your left hip in, you put your right hip in, and you flex it on back. You do the Willie Wade and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Ha ha. You take your left hip and stick it in. You take your right hip. Oh, hang on. I did it wrong. Let's do it again. You take your left hip and stick it in. You take your right hip and you stick it in. You take your right and your left hip in, and then you bend it all about. You do the Willie Wade. It's a pickle and a poke, and that's what it's all about. Wee-hee! Appreciate you. Have a good day. Oh, in case you want to listen to this literacy, we'll run it back. You turn yourself about. That's what it's all about. Dun, dun. You take a strong effort here. You take a strong ass offer there. You take the strong ass offer and then you shake it all about. You do the Willie Wade and you pickle and a poke. Another award-winning, thought-provoking, that's action-packed what it's all about. The Tony Basilio Show is coming up next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show.